TeapotOne, free time 23.
Bosh, and we're in the room. Are you all right to get going
mate.
now?
Yeah, let's go.
Right, beautiful.
Why not?
We're live. Folks, Guildford Custom. Mike Noble.
Hello, everyone.
Are you all right with... Of course you are. Of course you are. It's not like you hide behind a screen or anything, is it?
Not Spider-Man, mate. I wish I was sometimes.
How's things, man?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Yeah. Catching up on some sleep. Not really.
Why is that?
Actually, no, to be honest, it's all right, actually. No, obviously, little one was 3 weeks old yesterday.
Brilliant.
So, yeah, no, doing good, man. How are you?
Mate, I'm good. Just busy, but I can't complain. Blimey, I got it easy compared to you. Fatherhood, mate. Gee whiz. I remember those days.
Loving it. She's good as gold, mate.
Is she sleeping all right?
Sleeping through. She's just cute.
Oh, I hate you.
She's amazing. She's definitely a pub child.
Did you when you messaged me and said you were in a pub earlier? I was like, he's just become a dad. How's he worked that out?
Yeah, she's in the pub all the time.
Brilliant.
So, thanks to Rishi Sunak, mate, we've eaten now probably in the last 10 days 7 times.
Oh, it's that eat out
Easy.
to help out thing.
Yeah,
We haven't
it's been
done
amazing.
it yet. God.
Oh,
Sorry.
mate, it's amazing. You've got till tomorrow.
What? Is it?
Yeah. Finishes tomorrow.
I haven't got any time. I literally haven't got time. I've just been editing. I'm away. I'm off to Wales on Tuesday for... every year I go away with the boys and we normally go to like Spain and places on the bike, but obviously this year we can't. So we thought, bugger it, let's go to Wales and we'll do like 5 days in Wales. So we're doing
Wales is killer.
Yeah, it's brilliant, but literally Tuesday when we arrive, it starts raining and it stops on Saturday when we leave.
Mate. At least you're not going on a Harley, eh?
Oh mate, don't.
Won't melt.
I've got a Triumph Speed Triple RS to review.
Right.
I've got that for a couple of weeks, and I was going to take that, but it's on those Pirelli Supercoursers, Diablo Supercoursers, which are basically just road legal slicks. And I thought, I'm not careering around the backcountry roads of Wales in the dinging rain for like 5 days on that.
Super slidey on that cow. It ended up with cow shit mooey.
I know, yeah. So I've done like my first ride on it, recorded that, so I've got that to edit. I've got this podcast. I've just finished the Sidecar Guys podcast, and I've got a Cali Moto app first review to do.
So what you're saying is that the YouTube's going really well for you then?
It's brilliant. There's just not enough hours in the day at the moment.
Since you've full-timed it?
Yes, mate. Yeah. I'm not making YouTube money, but I'm certainly much, much happier. So no complaints.
Come on, Casey, you've got this. It's all good.
Yeah, Casey, I'm not. But yeah, so come on in. What's been going on? How is life? Obviously... for people that don't know, Mike is a sales manager over at Guildford Harley Davidson. How's it been, man, with lockdown and everything?
It's been interesting, out of, over a decade of working for Harley Davidson, this has been the weirdest year we've had so far. I mean, super strange. There seemed to be this, so we basically... got obviously told, we want everybody to close your doors.
Yeah.
So, following day we went in, we shut the shop down, moved, all the expensive stock upstairs, shut the lift down, went home. It was like, okay, this isn't cool. What the hell's going to happen this year? We were tracking really well January and March. I was thinking January and February. I was thinking, this is going to be a good year. Happy days. 2020 is on. About 3 weeks into lockdown, I just got bored. I got really bored, and I picked up my laptop, started making phone calls, selling bikes, and then started going into the shop, loading up courier vans, and they were just going around the country, which was amazing.
Wow. All
these people were just like, well, I haven't got anything else to do, getting all this money from the government, I think I'll buy a motorcycle.
Wow.
Beautiful. So yeah, it's been cool. It's been interesting trying to open up under the new COVID rules, one-way systems, masks, all this jazz. But it's been pretty constant up until now. It started to slow off a little bit just as the weather's turned, hasn't it? Really.
Yeah.
But it's been pretty constant all year, which is good. I mean, nowhere near the level of business we should have been doing, but I'm not complaining. You know, we've been holding our own really well. Out of all the dealers in the country, we've been doing really well.
Awesome. Yeah, it's just such a weird environment at the moment, isn't it? You just, I don't know. I mean, for me personally, it's my first year being like self-employed, and you're like, this obviously isn't normal, but I don't know if like the sponsorship opportunities and things that are occurring, is that normal or is it not normal, or what's the crack? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? Really, I think, but if you sit on your hands and you don't like try and do something, you know, and explore every opportunity that you have in front of you, then it's you know, if you think, you know, failure is going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? Really,
100%.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. It's the old thing, isn't it? You've got to be in it to win it. So you've got to be doing something in order to make something of that. So
absolutely.
Good on you.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. So well, I mean, how about the custom side of things?
Sorry, go on, carry on. I interrupted.
No. Just the custom side. Has there been any movement on that, or is that literally just put on the back burner for now? Or
no, not at all. So Guildford Custom still rocking and rolling. So far, we've literally just delivered a couple of really nice Sportsters. We've got a really nice Softail Sport Glide on the go at the moment. Colour match bags, deleted badges, FXRT fairing from the 80s. I mean, this thing looks killer. T-bars, everything. Neil, our workshop manager, who's the other half of Guildford Custom, I mean, he's killed it on this one, as he does every time. I mean, to be honest, he's the brains behind the whole... Yeah,
and
I'm just the guy that comes up. I just come on podcasts and smile. So,
I just realised something. We haven't cracked open a beer.
Oh, okay. So me being an idiot forgot to put my beers in the fridge. So I
do that?
I'm just on the rum.
Oh my god!
Sailor Jerry's.
Yeah, crack on.
So I'm all over it. So
slang. Oh Jesus. Wow, someone shook that one.
Cheers.
Jeez, most of that ended up on my floor.
Happy days.
Wow, I'm going to have to get a new carpet in here. Right, so you're on the rum. I'm on what's left of a can of Brewdog. Let's
Fantastic.
See where we go.
Excellent.
Right, mate. Well, I know you've watched the podcast or listened to the podcast before, so you know the general format. I whack up on social media to say who's coming on, and people leave the questions. And we see where it takes us.
Fantastic.
Awesome. This is a bit
so
weird.
So excited about talking about myself. Cool.
You get used to it, mate. You get used to it. Just mention my round the world trip, and then that'll be us for about 2 hours. I'll just bore you with that, and then we can talk about GSs, and that'll be us.
Hang on. Let me stop. You went around the world?
No, not me. It was another handsome young devil.
All the way around? That's amazing.
To you. Yeah, so it's a bit weird this week in that I'm doing 2 podcasts in the week because obviously I'm away next week, so I didn't want there to be another sort of lull, another break. I want to keep the podcast coming every week if I can. So people have risen to the occasion. We'll start with the clan over on Patreon, patreon.com/TeapotOne. The first question we have is from the Mad Leprechaun. I would never want to own a motorbike like these, but I totally love looking at them. They're works of art. What got you into it?
What got me into it? My dad, really, to be honest. I mean, my dad looks like... So, you've seen Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Hagrid in Harry Potter. That's my dad's nickname.
Is it?
That's what he looks like. Yeah, and he rides a Harley, and yeah, here we are. It just, he's always ridden Harleys. It's in my blood, I mean, it was never going to be. It was never going to be a weekend thing for me.
Yeah.
You know, I bought my first Harley. I was riding it. I was like, this is fun. Watching the TV shows, because this was when like there was constant reruns of like Biker Build Off, Motorcycle Mania, all this stuff on Discovery all the time. I'm living at home. I'm like coming home from work, microwave dinner, go and watch Discovery Channel for like 3 hours watching Biker Build Off or whatever. And I was just like, and then I go out for a ride and I was like, I got to do this all the time. I have to do this for a living. So yeah, that's basically, my dad got me started, and then it just spiraled out of control, and now here we are.
So what, did your dad do custom builds as well then?
No, not at all.
So what?
Dad was a chippy.
Right.
Owned Harleys, just likes the whole lifestyle, you know.
So how do you
looks
make
like this?
Sorry, bud. How do you make that transition then from watching the TV shows, thinking I really want to do that, to actually doing it? I mean, how do you go about doing something like that?
For me, it wasn't as easy. So I'm not particularly, to start with, I wasn't particularly mechanical, really. Mm. I know what I like, and I've got an eye for stuff. So in terms of putting stuff together and kind of it not looking like you rolled into Halfords and got all the stick-on bits, because that just looks terrible. Like something that flows from front to back.
Yeah, okay.
That sort of stuff I'm really good at. So it's easier to say I used to sell drugs to kids, to be honest, than tell you I was an estate agent. Let's just go with I sold drugs to kids before this.
Okay.
So I applied for a couple of jobs with Harley Davidson because I thought that would be the way to go. So I applied in London, I applied in Southampton, and, you know, you don't have enough experience. Okay, well, I can't get experience unless you give me a shot.
Yeah.
By the time I applied for Guildford, I almost got a little bit kind of arrogant, in as much as, give me a job, I'll be your top sales guy within a year.
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, yeah. So they gave me a job, and I fucking did it.
Did you?
So, yeah,
what,
absolutely.
in the first year?
Yeah, smashed it.
Wow.
Absolutely smashed it. And then, so moving on from then, so I started at Guildford Harley Davidson in 2008, August 2008, and we opened in the September of 2008. Sold the first bike that rolled out the door to a lovely couple. Big up Delia and Jim Cordell. Thank you for that. So they bought a little Sportster from me. So anyway, fast forward to 2009, and I'm still watching reruns of Biker Build Off and stuff in my bedroom. And well, no, actually, we bought Stephanie and I bought our first place by then. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so I'm still watching Biker Build Off, driving her up the bloody wall, and I'm like, right, this is cool. So this is something that could happen. And I've seen a couple of other dealers, you know, who are doing it already or starting to do it. So I'm like, right, how do I do this? Well, I can't do this myself. I can design these bikes. I can come up with all the ideas. Who's going to facilitate this for me? Mm-hmm. So to start with, back in 2009, we had a guy working for us called Stuart Hunt. Stuart, great technician, very grumpy, old man, disagreed with everything, likes to start an argument, typical old boy.
Was he ex-old
biker? No, he wasn't, surprisingly. I think he'd spent a lot of time in police stations in his youth.
Oh, right, gotcha.
But anyway, so Stuart and Dave Presley, who still works for Guildford Harley today, Stuart and Dave, the technicians at the time, you know, I got together with them and we started trying to sell concepts to customers. Mm-hmm. And in late 2009, guy called Dave, forgotten his last name, that's really bad. Guy called Dave literally dropped 30 grand on the table and went, go for your life.
Wow.
And that was the birth of Guildford Custom Cycles at the time. So Guildford Custom Cycles started in 2009. We shortened that later, but I'll come to that. So from that moment, we then had It was Dave Ransom. There we go.
That
Dave
was bugging
Ransom.
you, was it? That was bugging you not being able to remember.
Fucking was, mate. Yeah, it was. Sorry. Am I allowed to swear on here?
Say what you like.
Yeah, cool.
Say what you like.
Brilliant. So Dave dropped a load of cash on a bike, put his trust in us, and we built this lovely custom Fat Boy for him, which the boys put together. Then all of a sudden it started rolling. Another guy, Mark, he had a Fat Boy that we did, and both those bikes were featured pretty early on, 2009, towards the end of 2009 in American V magazine, and then it just rolled from there. Fast forward a few years to I don't know how long Neil's been with us now, but Neil Blanford, who is our workshop manager, master tech, master of wiring, just brilliant. This dude comes on so he used to work at our Norwich dealership. Then he moved out to Saudi Arabia, did Harley in Saudi Arabia for a bit, just, likes to try a few things out.
Yeah.
And then he came to Guildford and started working at Guildford, I think, maybe 2015, 2016. So Neil's work ethic and the way he does things and his wiring, like you look at the wiring on all the custom bikes that roll out of the shop now, it's like it's factory. It's brilliant. So take on all my crazy ideas and then Neil getting grumpy because I'm going crazy and then figuring out how to actually do it.
Yeah.
Is amazing. So once he stepped in, the whole level of what we were doing just went up another notch, and we're building some pretty, I mean, you've seen some of the bikes walking around the showroom that we built, and they are incredible. So then a couple of years ago, we took on an apprentice, a guy called Lawrence. We call him Larry. And Larry's been under Neil's wing for quite some time now. He's a fully fledged tech of his own right now. With Larry on board, we've been able to then go more because we've got both Neil and Larry working on the custom side of it, as well as doing all the servicing and bits and pieces as well. But they're now both doing it, so we're doing more stuff with those guys. And basically what we've got in Larry is another Neil because of the training, which is fantastic. So I come up with all these crazy ideas. Those guys come up with all these crazy ideas. Loads of other guys in the shop jump in as well. And before you know it, we've got all these really cool bikes flying around. And that's kind of how I got into it. And then how Guildford Custom has just kind of exploded into this really cool little custom shop in Surrey. I mean, we're not trying to be one of those shops that just regurgitates the same thing in different colours. Or, we're not trying to sort of like, I mean, world domination would be lovely, but what are we going to do tonight, Pinky? But we've got a really good thing going, and we're really proud of the kind of one-off little bits that we're doing 4 or 5 times a year. I mean, I think the most we've ever built in a year is probably 8.
Wow.
And, but the nice thing about that is for our customer base, keeps it really exclusive.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's not a case of, I want one of those in that colour.
It's not like a factory conveyor belt.
No. Yeah. So the Cookie Cutter series of Sportsters, which gave them the name Cookie Cutter, was for the Harley Davidson Battle of the Kings competition. So you had to build a custom bike that would go to a vote, and it had to be repeatable, hence the Cookie Cutter, because you can repeat it.
Okay.
But even every cookie cutter that has rolled out of the door, including the one on Saturday that rolled out the door this Saturday, every single one of them is different. Different bars, seat setups, even down to like HT leads and all sorts of bits, just little trick bits here and there. Everything's different. We won't paint one the same colour.
Wow, do you not?
No. No. So here's the point, right? So we are so set on making sure that everybody gets something individual, because I'm not being funny. If you come in and drop, so a cookie cutter was £13,000 on the road, right? Based on an 883 iron. Whether you're spending £13,000 or £100,000, you are having a bespoke custom bike built for you. So if you then roll into the shop and see exactly the same bike sitting on the floor for someone else, do you know what I mean? I just don't want to do that. So,
no, totally get that.
Harley Davidson, a guy called Nick at Harley Davidson got in touch with us after the 2017 Battle of the Kings. We want your bike. Harley Davidson want your bike. We want to send it out. It can do like road shows and stuff in Europe and stuff. We want the bike. Sorry, it's not for sale. Yeah, but we want it. Yeah, it's not for sale. Well, can you build us one exactly like it? No, I'll build you one just like it in a different colour. So back and forth. Harley Davidson got a grey one.
Right.
So they have one. It is floating around somewhere. Last time I saw it, it was being used in a Gibson guitar advert. But yeah, it's floating around out there somewhere.
Oh, that's
Even
cool.
Harley Davidson.
Yeah, you stick to your guns with that. That's cool. That's
But
something that...
it's really cool. Even Harley Davidson asked us to build them a bike. How cool is that?
That's something that really struck me with Harley. I knew nothing about Harleys. I was very sort of willfully ignorant, if you like, about Harleys, because I just thought, I'm never going to ride them. It's not my scene. You know, it doesn't tickle my danglies, so I never showed any interest in it. But once, certainly yours is the first Harley dealership I've ever stepped foot in. And literally, as soon as you stepped in, it was like, in fact, I did say it in one of the vids, the first vids I did there. It's like, not only is it the old cliche, it's like you're joining part of a community, part of a family, but it's all about making like the bike and the image your own, but whilst fitting into that Harley image. Do you know what I mean? It's all about customizing, which a lot of bikes tend to be now. Triumphs do a lot of things, but I think Harley just seem to have an infinite amount of possibilities that you can do to any of their bikes.
You know, I think a lot of manufacturers, from Kawasaki, Honda, Triumph especially, as much as whether they will or won't admit it, they owe Harley Davidson, and probably in particular Willie G. Davidson, an industry. You know, that guy, people like Willie G. Davidson, Arlen Ness, you know, all the greats from back in the day that have pioneered all this stuff. And now, you know, you can go onto the Triumph website and you can customize your street scrambler the way you want it on screen. Yeah. You know, back in the day, you would have never really done that, would you? You'd bought the bike and you'd have put some pipes on it. And that was it. You know, like you go and buy your Z900, your Z1B or whatever, Quacker, and you maybe put some megaphones on it and a fairing, and that'll be it.
Yeah, I mean, the whole customized bike market is huge. Massive. Absolutely huge these days. Do you think, would you as a custom bike builder, would you ever sort of look at any other brands or manufacturers to build a bike from as a base model, or will you always, with Guildford Custom, are you always just going to be purely Harley based?
So for me, Guildford Custom has always been a Harley Davidson based custom builder. You know, but I've spoken like many times to the guys, and I've tried to. I've floated the ideas and stuff of doing other bikes. I mean, within the Lim group, we took on Jack Lilly Triumph, so we now own Jack Lilly, which incorporates JL Customs. So they're actually doing custom Triumphs and stuff like that. Okay, which is really, really cool. And Dave and his team, they do amazing things, which is superb. I've always wanted to take on a Triumph and stuff like that. Yeah. And we have a Porsche dealership as well. And I always wanted to get hold of something like a 911 and have a go at that as well, you know, customise that. But I don't know, maybe in the future we'll get to do that stuff. But at the moment, I'm pretty happy with what we're doing. I mean, I get up every day and I go to a place that I love and I do the stuff I love. Yeah. Can't really go wrong, you know, but I always want more, because I think if you sit idle, it's not a case of being not happy with your lot, because believe me, I'm so happy with my lot, but it's just about pushing it a little bit further, you know? Absolutely,
yeah. And from what I know of you, Mike, I think you're I think I'm maybe a little bit similar to you in that we both need to set challenges. We both need to set like our target, our sights.
Gotta have goals.
That's exactly what I'm looking for. You've got to have goals to work towards. Absolutely, yeah.
There's no point in just. I see it with lots of guys I went to school with, and they just float through life.
Yeah, and it's easy to do that. It's easy.
Yeah, it is. But that's the easy ticket. Yeah. You have, your house and your holiday a year, and you go to your job and you do your job and you come home and you have some laughs and you have some. And do you know what? For some people, that's really fulfilling. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say the wrong thing, because that is really fulfilling. I mean, I've got to be honest. Since I became a father, in the last 3 weeks, I literally live for Sunday and Monday. Like, it's killing me sitting here right now, knowing she's upstairs, cuddled up, and I could just be there with her. I mean, it's enough just for me to just, like, we've been for a lovely walk today, went for a pub lunch, kind of just like, that's enough, But in my mind, very much same as you. You're probably thinking of stuff right now. Yeah,
constantly.
Always ticking, and then before you know it, you've got another idea and you want to do something new. I'm just one of those people.
Yeah.
It's very cool to be fulfilled in just having that cool, simple life. And that's great for some. Not for me. For me, I just want to do a little bit more.
Yeah. Because I'm all still new to this and, literally living and breathing what I do at the moment. I'm guilty of I don't give my wife or anything else outside of this enough time. So I'm literally like 7 days a week, every hour that I can possibly spend, I'm either editing or out on the bike or filming something, creating content. You know what I mean? It's just, it's constant, and I'm very aware of that fact that you can't.
Thing is, though,
you can't go 24/7. You've got to ease off at some point.
Yeah, very much so, and I think that's really important to do so. And I've just thought, I haven't plugged my charger into my phone, so we might lose power. Hang on 2 seconds.
No worries. I'm just going to open the window because this is like a sauna in here.
Beautiful. We have power.
Awesome.
Don't want to run out of battery halfway through this, and then we've got got loads of data, but not enough. So I think we can all be very guilty of getting tunnel vision.
Yeah.
And I think But how long have you been married now, Bruce?
It'll be 4 years in about 2 weeks' time.
How long have you guys been together?
10 years now.
10 years, and she's supported you all the way through this journey.
Nikki's been amazing. Literally from our first date, she's known about TeapotOne. I was planning my trip when we met, so she's literally been with me all the way through.
So Stephanie's the same. She's been with me all the way through this, and she's the one that pushed me to just keep trying one more time.
Yeah. Because
I got knocked back loads, in terms of getting into Harley Davidson, because obviously everybody wants to work for Harley Davidson, and I got knocked back loads, and she pushed me to just one more time. And then I come up with this custom bike shop thing, and she pushed me one more time, and she was even coming to all the shows, dressed up in the outfits, doing the leaflets, and standing with the punters, having photos and stuff like that. So I think if you've got, I think you can get tunnel vision, and you can kind of block out everything else.
Yeah.
But if you've got the right, behind every man is the strongest woman in the world.
That's very true,
right?
Man.
And if you can find that girl that's going to really help you push yourself and understand where you're going, you're good. Mm-hmm. Because I've watched your channel, I watch all your stuff, I listen to your podcast. It's brilliant, it's entertaining.
Thank you very much.
It's really engaging, and I love it. Hence why I'd watch your Around the World trip but I watched your trip on YouTube.
Have I ridden around the world? Oh.
That time when you went around the world, that thing. And I was literally with Neil at the 2017 Battle of the Kings competition at XL London, and that's when I was like, that's fucking TeapotOne. I just
yeah.
went straight over and I was like, Bruce, you're amazing. Love watching your video. Just finished it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And you were like, I've got to get you on a Harley.
Exactly. And that was kind of like me thinking, because I was just starting to play with YouTube myself. So I was like, right, I've got to get this guy in. And like, you know, not from I want to get in there, you know, but like okay, so this guy's got a great platform. He's doing great things. So if I help him, he's going to help me. Mm-hmm. And now here we are. And we're sitting there on a Sunday night having a drink.
Exactly. Talking of YouTube, you've got a YouTube channel going, and I've plugged your vids before.
You have, thank you.
I love them. I love them. I love that style. Now, you said that comes from a chap that sadly passed away, wasn't it? It was his sort of style.
Yeah. So there was this guy in Australia, Tim Carrico. Everyone called him Timo. Tim was a filmmaker. He made an amazing film called Halfway to Nowhere, which is available to buy on Vimeo. Sorry, YouTube. But this film is cracking. It's absolutely brilliant. There's some other films that are available for free that he made before he passed away. There's a couple of really, really good films.
Halfway to Nowhere.
Halfway to Nowhere, yeah. So that's absolutely brilliant. And also made a film called California Dreams, where he and some of his buddies flew bikes from Australia to Los Angeles and rode around LA and rode around California and stuff, Joshua Tree and things like that. But his style of filmmaking is just really cool and it's really engaging. And every time I watch, and I've watched those films hundreds of times, and every time, despite the fact that I've seen them so many, you know, when you're watching TV or you're watching a film and it's really good, but you still pick up your phone and you flick through like Instagram or whatever, because you just kind of you're not really multitasking, you just fucking procrastinate.
Most of the time I watch my own vids, yeah.
Yeah, you're just procrastinating over bollocks, really. Every time I watch like stuff like that, I don't pick my phone up, you know, and it sets me off. I mean, not to get all like, you know, I mean, I'm only about that far through my run, but it really fires something up in me, and I get really excited about riding motorcycles, and especially old vintage choppers, which is my thing. Mm-hmm. So I got to meet Tim in London a few years ago. The first time I met him, we were both very drunk, and we both were with Dean Meistich from Dice Magazine. And we went to, I can't remember, I was really drunk. We went to, we went to the after party of the Assembly Chopper Show.
Careful,
and then we all
your missus might watch this. Careful.
We all piled into this Uber, and I ended up sitting next to this guy, Tim, and I was like, shit, like, you know, so I got to chat to him. Anyway, we drive across London. I have no idea where we end up. We end up in some warehouse, some woodwork shop in Hackney. And you walk through the door into this woodwork shop, and there's this fucking whale tail Porsche sitting there and everything. I mean, this is the best part, yeah. Wow. So I spent this whole evening with Tim and chatting to him, and then like kind of got like, you know, became friends, and then we met up again the following year in London. Yeah. We kept in touch on WhatsApp and stuff, and then obviously we met up that year in London, and that was the last time I saw him. In December, he got taken out on his panhead in Gold Coast, and that was it. And I just remember waking up and seeing that he passed away and being like, wow, that's really... And I'd already started making videos at this point. And they were all right. It was just, you know, basically cutting riding shots to music. Mm-hmm. And since he passed away, I've started writing stuff and working on stuff and really trying to up my game. Mm-hmm. Not as... You can't ever replace a guy like that, but not as like a... But like I see that needs to carry on, maybe, you know? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't ever expect to be anywhere near as good a filmmaker as Tim, but if I can be half that, that'd be nice.
Well, I don't want to blow I don't want to blow smoke on your arse and up your arse, and I'm not just saying it because you're on here, but I said it to you before we met at Harley. There, your vids sort of, they make you want to join in. They make you want to be part of that community, because there's not any talking there's very little talking in your vids, but it's all about the vibe, the enjoyment, the community and companionship that everyone's got around these beautiful bikes. And I just looked at it and thought, I want to be part of that. That looks amazing. Looks awesome.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
No, you've done well with them.
Thanks, mate. I know you watched and plugged the video I did. So the 3 weeks of lockdown, I did a video. Why ride? Why not? Because I was kind of feeling a bit lonely and a bit not lonely, because obviously I'm here with Stephanie, but I'm like not riding my motorcycle. The sun is absolutely cooking me in the garden every day. I'm like, and funnily enough, actually, so Dave Lilly at Jack Lilly Triumph, Dave put up a video on the Jack Lilly Facebook page. This is me, I'm Dave. This is my Triumph. This is why I ride. Really nice video, actually, about his little bike and why he bought it. The VIN number was quite important because it contained his dad's birthday, I think, and stuff like that. So it was just really, really nice. And I was just sitting there thinking, I'd like to do something like that. So I thought about like getting my chopper out in the driveway, that's it. Cue the aubergine emoji. Sit on the driveway, and talk about my motorcycle. And then I thought, no, that's going to be terrible. Almost as bad as I'm coming across on this podcast. So I thought, no, that won't work. So I sat down and I thought, right, well, I have no new content, but I have all these amazing clips of riding that I can put together with something. So I sat down and I wrote this script and I read it to my wife, and she goes, why can't you be that poetic to me? And I was like, I'm onto something here. So,
I love my bikes.
Yeah, that's it. They're my babies. Okay, they're not my babies anymore. I have a baby now. I don't have the voice for it though. So I have a couple of friends, a guy called Arnaldo from Brazil. So we tried to do it with Arnie, and Arnie's a lovely, lovely guy. And but he just struggled with pronunciation on some of the words and things like that. It just wasn't really coming through right. And I sent it to Wade Polson of Sick Boys Customs. Wade has been a friend of mine for over a decade. He's a brilliant guy. He's got quite a distinctive voice. You would agree because you've heard it. He literally, one take, bang, sat in a room in his house, just recorded it into his iPhone and sent it to me. And I was like, that's perfect. So I just put that video together, and that's when I felt that it was starting to get better,
Yeah. How did that vid do? Because I remember, like, all the other competition that was there, I mean, it is disrespectful, but it was crap. And, like, there was a picture.
Oh, the Easy Riders comp.
Oh, that was the Easy Rider one, sorry, yeah.
Easy Riders, yeah.
And it was storming away in the lead, and I'm like, it's not even a good picture. And your video was amazing. It's like, why is your video not winning this? I don't get it.
Who knows, man? Who knows? But I wasn't going to enter. I had no idea this competition was going on. I just got I got a DM on Instagram from the guys at Easy Riders. And they were like, look, we really like your video. Would you consider putting it in? We'd like to feature it as a finalist. I was like, okay, I didn't even realise the competition started, but yeah, all right. Yeah. I came second, I think, which was cool. I mean, to me, always
it's a travesty because
I'm always second. Why am I always second?
It was hands down the best out of all that, without a shadow of a doubt. But
thank you, mate. No, I appreciate it. It was a cool video. So check it out. I'm sure he'll put a link in the description.
I'll put links down below, folks.
So, yeah, no, thank you.
Right, let's crack on with the next question. Remotorcycled. Struan. Did you see, I had remotorcycled on a podcast a couple of weeks ago. He does custom build bikes up in Aberdeen.
Oh, fantastic.
And Struan's asking, what's your favourite model of Harley to modify and why?
We're talking work-based customization. I would have to say pretty much anything on the Softail platform. But I'd say the older Softail platform, twin cam.
Right.
Because there's more parts available. However, we're doing some pretty cool stuff with the Milwaukee Ace now. I'm sure you saw you did see it because you were at the XL, weren't you?
Yeah.
For Battle of the Kings, where you saw our Charlie Racer.
Yeah.
Which is our scrambler kind of dirt bike board track thing that we put together for Battle of the Kings. Which we've done quite a few of those now. We've done like 3 of those.
So what? That's your favourite, that style?
I'd say the Softail platform, yeah, because you kind of got those hardtail looks because the shocks are hidden away. It's just a really nice platform. When you break it down to just a frame, wheels, front end, and motor and transmission, it's just a nice base to then add gas tanks, different fenders, seats, bars. I mean, different lights. You can go ultra modern with it, or you can go ultra classic with it. It's just there's so much you can do with it. Although recently I'm kind of fancy doing a couple of old performance diners, with big Olin suspension, T-bars, big fairings, like Sons of Anarchy on steroids. So like
got you.
Big 120 cubic inch motors in them, and
why is it that Harley goes with the cubic inch on their engines and not like cc's, litres, all that sort of stuff?
Because Americans are obsessed with inches, man.
Is it literally just down to that? Is it literally just down to...
I have no idea. I have no idea why. Look, why do the Americans... Right, so don't get me wrong, I love America in as much as they have given me an entire... Fuck yeah. They've given me an entire career.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But, they make some questionable decisions. One of which is in the White House. I fucking said it. There you go.
Politics. So, don't bring politics or religion.
No, but do you know what I mean, though? They go with cubic inches because they do. There's probably an answer, and someone's probably going to put in the comments, they do this because of this. Fantastic. I have no idea, but it's cubic inches.
Because you were rattling off, this is the 114 engine, and I was like, oh yeah, right. And I'm thinking, what, 114cc? What is it? What is it? It's just, I didn't know. I didn't care once I got on the blooming things and rode it. They're addictive, man. I never thought I would say that. I never thought I would say that. Well, I never thought I'd say it about a GS, let alone a Harley. But yeah, man, I love riding them.
Yeah, it is good fun, definitely.
Now, you mentioned Softail. For the real Neanderthals out there that don't know the difference, what's the difference between a Softail and a hardtail?
Softail has suspension.
So the hardtail has no suspension at all.
Has
it's literally
no
the
rear
seat.
No rear suspension.
Just the spring in the seat.
So yeah, basically, I don't own a motorcycle with rear suspension personally. I don't own one. So
how is your spine?
Yeah, fine. Yeah, rocking, man. I'm all good. I'm 38, mate. Ask me in 10 years. I'm all right at the moment. We'll see.
Good God.
But yeah, no, I'm loving it.
Yeah, because you've got your custom bikes. Now you've got, is it a 1930 or 1940s? Is it a pan?
So I have a 1952 pan head.
1952 pan head.
And a 1977 cone shovel chopper.
Which has been in various incarnations, isn't it?
So that bike's been that's been 5 different bikes so far.
And that's got the suicide shift as well, isn't it?
Yeah, suicide shift. I'm about to drop the front brake as well because we're going for version 6 this winter.
You're going to drop the front brake?
Yeah, no front brake. Foot clutch, no front brake. It cleans up the bars. So you got just your throttle, And then the front end's all clean because you just got a little spool, what's called a spool hub. So it's got no mounts for brake discs or anything. It's just a tiny little hub. So it just cleans up the front end. Really nice.
So you're going to be the best looking bike ever to go careering through a wall or off
Not
into
really,
a hedge.
dude. Honestly, I can't remember the last time I touched my front brake.
Seriously?
Yeah, I've been training myself to ride no front brake for the last 6 months at least. I've been trying to learn not to touch the brake. Mainly because Arnaldo, my friend from Brazil, just keeps giving me shit about it. Because he has two of the nicest choppers ever, and neither have a front brake. And all I hear is like, it's not a chopper, it's got a front brake. Shut up, Arnie. Fuck.
Is that a thing then? Is it in the custom chopper world?
No
front brake.
It's a fucking Arnaldo thing.
Yeah, but you're the one that's going to rebuild his bike.
Yeah, I am. Because I will not hear the end of it if I don't. So, yeah.
Oh, man. You are aware that that's insanity. I mean, how big's the rear brake? Are you like boosting the size of the rear brake then to compensate?
No, I got a big performance machine 6-pot caliper on the back, so stops on a dime, mate. But saying that, my panhead is on drum brakes, and the rear drum, you can lock it in an instant, and it just it's brilliant.
Good God, wow,
it's fucking great. Well, hey,
I know you're
going to find out.
Not a chance. Not to. I mean, Suicide Shift was
No,
literally
you're
suicide enough.
You're riding the panhead.
Oh, good God, I'd love to, but oh mate, what if I drop it?
You won't drop
Jesus.
it. Size of you, mate.
Have you seen how many crashes I've had in the last 3 or 4 years? Jesus.
Yeah, that's all right. You won't crash this.
Oh wow. Okay. Right.
Next
question. yeah. Draw a discreet line under that. J Beckett. In terms of performance Harley Davidsons, what did you think to the FXDR, and were you disappointed that Harley Davidson is now going to cut back on new bike ideas like the Bronx? Oh, this is someone that knows what they're talking about.
What did I think of the FXDR?
Yeah. What is the FXDR?
The FXDR is a Softail model with a one-piece swing arm, funky modern bodywork. I mean, the best way to describe it was I think it was aimed primarily at the Diavel.
Right, okay, yeah.
So 114 cubic inch motor. That's 1868cc to us normal people.
1860, 1.8?
Yeah, 1.8.
Jesus Christ.
Great bike. I think genuinely, I think it was a really cool bike. 240 section rear tyre, so millimetre rear tyre, so big fat chunky tyre, same as the Fat Boy you rode.
The Fat Boy, yeah, Fat Boy. Yeah.
Check back through his vids, watch that, it's cool.
I love that bike, loved it.
So, just a really cool bike, and having, this skinny front wheel and this big fat back end, surprisingly handled really, really well.
Wow.
For me, I'm not very tall, as you well know. Check out my Instagram. I just put a picture up of me and Bruce about tonight. I look very, very small. I found the FXDR actually a bit of a stretch for me. Forward controls, a bit stretched out.
Okay.
Harley did do a limited edition in the UK only with some slightly higher risers and drag bars, which did actually sort that out, to be fair. What do I think about it? It was a cool bike. It's not for me, but then horses for courses, I'm not really into, that modern, ultra modern style bike. Like last time I rode a Ducati Diavel, I hated it. I was horrible. Oh mate, fucking junk. God,
why is that? I've not ridden the Diavel. I'm dying to, but I've not ridden it yet.
It's uncomfortable, cumbersome. I just couldn't really get on with it. I reckon I could corner better on my 40-year-old chopper, mate. Genuinely. I just didn't get on with it. I really didn't. Yeah. And I know I'm going to get hated for that in the comments, probably. But I just didn't get on with it. You've ostracised 3/4 of the audience. I just didn't get on with it. And it was a bit like that with the FXDR, but then everybody that bought one loved it. But I think because of, say, the popularity of some other bikes in that market sector, it didn't do as well as it probably should have done. Hence why it's, you know, it's not coming back.
All right. And then J&J Beckett, they ask...
About the Bronx, sorry, of course.
Are you disappointed that Harley's is going to cut back on the new bike ideas like the Bronx?
I think the Bronx is quite a crowded market. That Street Fighter, Naked, you know, that's quite a crowded market, isn't it? Let's be honest. You know, all the Honda CBs and Suzuki.
It's the in thing at the moment, isn't it?
MT-07s and stuff like that. I mean, I think it's you're going to throw a lot of money into it, and I think the only way to make something like that successful is probably, you know, you got to run it in cheap, even if you're losing cash on it to start with. And with COVID, I possibly, you know, that's not the best time to be doing something like that. However, the adventure bike is coming. Cannot wait to get my hands on it.
Yeah, that is such a polarising bike. Because I've got to admit, when I first saw the pictures of it, I thought, what are they doing? What is that? But then it's one of these bikes that the more you look at, you think, it's different. There's nothing else like that. I wonder what that's going to ride like.
I think it's going to be cool. I mean...
I'm intrigued to see now.
So, here we are, since 1903. You know, it's over 100 years of development, pushing the boundaries, ideas, all the racing heritage that Harley Davidson has.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, we're the first company to introduce motorcycle safety clothing. Do you know what I mean? That was like 1906. We started introducing things like the thick woolly jumpers and stuff like that for the board track racing. But like, and I know that sounds funny. Like, who the fuck wears a woolly jumper? Yeah. But that's what they had back then.
In those days, yeah.
And they were selling that you could buy that out of the catalogue sort of thing. So, you know, Harley, I think people forget Harley have done a lot for the motorcycle industry, motorcycle safety, motorcycle racing. As much as I'm now going to set comments on fire, but this is true, fact check it. The reason you have a Japanese motorcycle industry is because of Harley Davidson.
Well, go on. Why is that then?
Because a Japanese manufacturer bought some blueprints to Harley Davidson motorcycles to build them on license in Japan, and that was the birth of the Japanese motorcycle industry.
Oh, wow.
So there you go. So that's pretty much, I mean, they were building the odd motorcycle, but that's when it really kicked off in Japan. So
what you're saying is my Jigsaw Thou is basically a Harley? Is that what you're saying?
If that's what you want to say, that's fine.
So I rode around the world, because I rode around the world, you know, on a Harley. Is that basically?
Pretty much. Let's be honest, the Japanese are really, really fucking clever. So
gotcha. Yeah.
Clearly, they've refined the idea. Kind of
and they
improved
use
it a little
CCs. They use CCs, not cubic inches.
Yeah, that's it. But do you know what I mean? So we've been innovating for over 100 years. So in terms of the drop in the Bronx, I think it's we got a new CEO called Jochen, okay, and Jochen knows what he's doing. He's a very clever man. He's streamlining things. He's the guy that took Puma from the gutter and turned them back into a premium sports brand.
Right, gotcha.
Okay, so we are not in the gutter by any stretch of the imagination. We're up there, man. So imagine what Jochen's going to put, where he's going to put us. He's going to take us up next level. So he's obviously making sensible decisions in terms of he's dropped the Bronx. We're running with a Pan America. What comes next, I'm super excited about. There's loads of concept. There's loads of ideas. We've got a guy who's the head of R&D and stuff at the moment at Harley Davidson, a guy called Brad Richards. That guy knows what he's doing. I mean, he literally left Ford Motor Company, came to work for Harley Davidson. The first bike he gave us was the Dyna Lowrider S. That thing is a fucking icon. It's one of the
Everyone
best
keeps
bikes.
going on to me about the lowriders.
Mate,
Everyone.
the Dyna Lowrider S is one of the best bikes that Harley have ever made. I love that thing. It is wicked. 1800cc motor in this tiny little Dyna. Oh my God, it's a ripper. And then, like, you know, you can upgrade it to like 117 cubic inch, so just tuck it just under 2 litre. Oh, mate, amazing bike. So, to answer the question, no, I'm not disappointed, because they're definitely not going to stop bringing out all these new models and developing all this stuff, because that's what we do. You know, from building single cylinder bikes, you know, in the early 1900s to fucking golf carts and snowmobiles in the 70s. We've done it all, and we continue to do so. It's amazing,
Now,
really.
That naturally leads me on to ask about the future of Harley, but I know somebody has brought that up in a question, I think, over on Instagram, which we'll go to shortly. And it follows on from remember the Fort 9 did the video on Harley Davidson and is it dead, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So we will get into that. We will cover that. There's just a couple other questions to get through. J&J Beckett also asks, well, we covered this really with Remotorcycled. What is your favourite Harley platform to customise? Dyna, Glide, Softail or Sportster? I think we only mentioned Softail and Hardtail before, didn't we?
Softail's my favourite. I mean, I love Sportsters. I mean,
Right,
they're
go
just
through.
amazing.
What's a Dyna?
So, well, a Dyna is a big twin with shocks on the outside, 2 shocks either side. You can see it, like, you know, big swing arm, all suspension on show. It's got a rubber mounted engine in it, so it vibrates in the frame. Softail has a balance motor in the frame, hidden shocks, so it sits there on tick over. You can't see it vibrating.
Right.
And then Sportster, that's a rubber mounted motor, but fuck me, that's just like, I like Sportsters.
How's it go?
You're going to turn that into a GIF, aren't you? Yeah, I can see it.
I am now.
Fucking hell. Yeah, fucking right. I'm going to get that on WhatsApp later. Sportsters are brilliant. I mean, there's not really anything you can't do with a Sportster. So, you know, you can turn them into track bikes. So, you know, Olin suspension, Gixxer front forks, you know, big Brembo brakes, like big 1200, 1250cc hooligan kits on them to like up them, and cams, and just go nuts. You can jack the suspension up, put dirt tyres on them, go off-roading on it. You can add longer swing arms and turn them into hill climbers. I mean,
Yeah.
that bike's been running since 1957. I mean, it is an icon. Sportster, in one guise or another, has been running since 1957. They're fucking brilliant, man. They're so cool. And I tried. I had a 1200 Sportster, a little chopper thing that I built, right? Had these little exhausts on it that I made, and like, fucking hell, the metal on them was so thin that they kept cracking, so they'd let air in. So you'd like ride down the M3 motorway, come back from the Ace Cafe at night, and you'd have flames like that coming out of them as you accelerate. It's fucking great. I tried to kill this thing. I really did. Like, just hammered it everywhere, and it was just like, whatever, mate. Just, yeah, whatever. If you like.
It.
Yeah, just take it. And they're like indestructible, pretty much. They're amazing.
And what's the Glide?
The Glide. So in terms of touring, let's go with the Ultra Classic Electra Glide. The Ultra Classic Electra Glide. Or Ultra Limited.
It was the Street Glide I took out, wasn't it?
So you rode the Street Glide. So
Street Glide.
Street Glide is basically the same bike, but without a top box. But not that you need any more space, because you had plenty of space in there, didn't you?
This thing was enormous.
It's amazing, wasn't it?
Enormous. But it totally threw me how easy it was to ride, because not only is it's like a Volvo, but you ride with your feet out the front, and I'd never ever ridden a bike like that. And I genuinely, as I pulled out of the dealership, as soon as I pulled out of the dealership, I thought, oh, this is going to be a long day. And literally, by the first roundabout, I was like, oh, this is actually really nice. It's nice and comfortable, and that was it.
By the time I was doing burnouts on the road glide, you were loving it.
Yeah, good times, man. Good times. Right, so that is a run through of all the various. Are they models or what are they then?
Yeah, so we have
Glide, Softail, Sportster.
So Harley call them families. They've actually changed it up now. We've got like street touring, cruiser, that kind of thing. As you
got a normal thing. Yeah,
for the last 10, 15 years or whatever, it's been family. So you've had Dyna family, Sportster family, touring family, Softail family, and then VRSC, which were the V rods, which sadly were knocked on the head in 2017, so they didn't meet the Euro 4 emissions, I think, something like that. Which is a shame.
Well,
they were cool.
We've all got to breathe, I suppose, haven't we?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. Last little one from J&J Beckett. They've asked, is the best Harley now actually a Triumph Rocket? Topical.
Do you know what? I don't know much about the new Rocket. I've not ridden one.
No, I've not yet.
I've only seen one once. The old Rocket, amazing. Like, was it 2.2 litre or something? 2.1?
I think it's 2.3 or 2.5. It's enormous, whatever it is.
Got a customer who's got a few Harleys, and he's got an old Triumph Rocket 2.5. Clearly wasn't fast enough, so he supercharged it.
Oh my God.
I mean, like, yeah, because it wasn't powerful enough as it was. I just find, I'm going to all the Triumph Rocket owners are going to kill me now, but question. When it's parked on your driveway, if you listen really carefully, can you hear it depreciating? Because I can hear it from here. It's just, I don't know, man. So everybody tells me they're amazing. And all the Triumph dealers tell me they're amazing until I want an underwrite on one. And they're, we're not doing so well on those at the moment. And I'm like, I had this same conversation about a Victory highball or 8-ball or something back when they were out. Phoned up a Victory dealer and was like, how you getting on? Yeah. Oh, what's your best seller? Oh, it's this. I was like, oh, that's nice. I've got one that I want to trade. Oh, I've got a few of those. All right.
All right, like that.
But yeah, same with the Rocket. I find that every time I try and get a price on one, I just get lowballed. I don't know why. So I'm speaking from experience rather than hating on the bike. Mm-hmm. I don't know about the new one. I assume that it's pretty good because it's sold out like that. I mean, it was released and that was it. Bang. It was gone.
All the people I know who sort of test bikes either for a living or as, like the YouTube type stuff, everyone I know that's ridden one has loved it.
I mean, it looks incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, the old one, I just think was just kind of this big lump of metal, motorcycle, chrome, bit of black. All right, whatever. The new one, I love that single-sided swing arm thing that's going on.
Yeah.
The whole thing just looks really fucking cool. So I assume that it's going to, and if everyone's saying it's amazing to ride, I assume it's probably going to have good residual on it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is the best Harley to own the new Rocket 3? Absolutely not.
What's the best to own at the moment out of the current lineup then? If
I was to buy a Harley Davidson right now with my own money, it would be the Softail Lowrider S. Now, you know how cool that fucking bike is. Mr. Fish definitely knows how cool that bike is.
I think he was going to buy one.
And you know
he
how
wanted
cool,
to buy one.
And you know how loud it is, because every time you come up next to you, he nearly deafened you.
Yeah, he did, man, yeah.
It's wicked.
Yeah, that was such a good day out, the two of us on those bikes. We were like a couple of kids, just revving. Sorry to anyone that lived anywhere in like deepest, darkest Surrey or wherever the heck we were in sort of South England. We were just trundling along these country lanes going...
Making loads of noise. But that's what it's all about. It's part of the fun. I mean, I think it doesn't matter what you ride. If you've got like some noisy exhaust on it and stuff, and let's be frank, right? The reason we all ride motorcycles is because every time we twist the throttle, the little kid in us goes.
It's to be noticed, isn't it?
And
It is to be noticed.
You know, it's just fun.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if motorcycling wasn't fun, we wouldn't do it.
No.
You know.
Although you listen to some people and you think, do you actually enjoy riding bikes? You know, I do listen to some folk, and it's almost, they almost turn it into a science, and I'm just like, do you not feel it? Do you not enjoy it?
Oh, dude, it's the winter warriors for me. The winter warriors that are like, you don't ride your motorcycle in the winter.
Oh yeah.
No, I fucking don't. I've got a car, mate. I'm not stupid. It's got a radio and heating.
We can't be mates anymore. I don't even own a car.
Oh, mate.
No, I do get you. I kind of, there's a perverse thing with me. I don't care if people don't ride all year round or not. I'm not bothered. But for me, I just enjoy riding, so I'm not bothered what the weather's like. And when it's cold, yes, then it's just like, I need to invest in some heated kit here and some proper waterproofs.
Yeah, like, I don't mind riding in the winter. I mean, that day we went out, it wasn't exactly toasty. Oh, lovely time. Lovely time.
What, when we both went out on the big
Yeah.
I was on the ultra glide, no, the street glide.
Yeah.
Mate, that was about 15 degrees. That's not winter.
No, it wasn't. Shut up.
Mate,
No, it wasn't.
I'm talking like 4 degrees or below zero.
Yeah, I don't do below zero. I did
If
one.
you're in single-
No, that's a lie. If you look back through my videos, I did one, and I'm like, it's fucking freezing. I was cold, mate. Yeah. Thing is, I think it doesn't really matter. You can be that scientist kind of. Let's break it down. Let's break motorcycling down into a mathematical equation. Cool. If that's how you enjoy it, that's awesome. If you are that winter warrior who literally like doesn't believe that you're a biker unless you ride and it's -7 in the snow, like fine, that's cool. If that's how you feel, that's awesome because you're riding a motorcycle. Same as if you're that guy that literally does a 9 to 5, gets to ride his motorcycle for a couple of hours on a Sunday morning. If that's what you do, that's cool. For me, I love motorcycles, and it doesn't matter if it's a Harley or a Honda or a BMW. You know, all these manufacturers make something I like because it's got 2 wheels. And the thing I love about it the most is it breaks down racial barriers, it breaks down gender barriers, it breaks down like wealth barriers. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, man, woman, rich, poor. Inside that motorcycle helmet, we're all the same. And we're all there for the same reason, for the joy and the love of riding motorcycles. So for me, that's the ticket right there. That's it. That's what I love about it.
That is true the world over. It really is. It's an amazing thing to see and be part of.
What was the question again?
We've done it again. Is the best Harley now a Triumph Rocket? We've answered that.
We've covered
moved
that.
on.
Motorcycling is amazing. That's your answer.
We're sorting all the world's problems now.
Absolutely.
But, like, if you ride a bike and it doesn't. I know there's the sports bike thing, the GS thing, the cruiser thing, the Harley thing, the moped thing. You know, whether or not people nod to each other or not, depending on what you ride. Get rid of all that bollocks. When you get out there, if you're riding a bike and like you see someone coming the other way, Europe's a prime example. People just wave. People,
Yeah, they do.
You know, stick the hand out, stick
It's
the foot
amazing.
out. They don't care what you're riding.
Of course they don't.
And you can go to any country in the world. People are on little mopeds, and you go by on a big old bike. They're waving. You
Yeah,
wave to them.
absolutely. And
It's
why wouldn't
just
you?
a great thing to be part of. Yeah, of course. But do you not find it's weird that here in the UK especially, biking is very much seen as like the Antichrist by the government. No matter which government is in, whether you're Labour or a Tory, it doesn't matter.
I mean, we're a fucking
biking.
statistic. It's bollocks.
Yeah.
It is shit.
We are very much something which they would love to eradicate, And, you know, certainly in cities, they're doing everything they can to eradicate it. And it's
if they got rid of us, they bring the road death figures down. Mm-hmm. What would actually be better to bring the road figures down is if drivers open their fucking eyes. That would be a start.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
You know, I agree with you. We seem to be a menace, which is frustrating. On the flip side of that, motorcycling seems to be, or is starting to become, this like saviour of transport. So take COVID, for example. Who the hell wants to go on a bus or a train now?
Yep.
No thanks.
Yep.
You're all right. Don't want to sit in traffic. What's my quickest way to work? Jump on a motorcycle.
Absolutely. But the problem is that people, I would say there are more people buying smaller bikes than they are buying big bikes at the moment, because I'm sort of pissing in the wind a little bit with this. There's no science behind it. It's just sort of observations and my feelings. I think there's a lot of people who don't really have any intention to get into biking the way, say, we are, you know, with the whole biking scene. It is a mode of transport. Yeah. It's just, right, I can get myself a little moped, a little bike, and I can tutor in and out of work. Bosh, job done. However, I fully believe that once they do that, it might grab a few of them and bring them into the bigger bike market. But do you think people like Harley might start developing smaller cubic inch or CC bikes?
There's stuff I'm sure you've seen on the internet. There's stuff that gets leaked and sneaking around. There's this really cool 350 that keeps kind of popping up. Now, I don't know, and please don't think that I do, because I genuinely don't. I usually find out this stuff about 20 minutes before the general public when something comes out.
So Michael Noble from Guildford Harley Davidson, you're saying now that the Harley 350 is coming out, yeah?
I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there is...
Exclusive!
But then there's stuff... No, there's stuff in development all the time. And there's a couple of spy shots that have come out of stuff like that. There is no reason to think that we won't. Obviously, we have the amazing electric Livewire. The bike is incredible. Absolutely amazing. Off the back of that, we have all these really cool... I
will do things that your wife will do to get a shot of that bike.
Don't worry, mate. You can have a shot. It's fine.
Washing, cleaning.
Yeah, that's it. Shine my shoes.
Oh, jeez. That's yours.
That bike's...
It's throwing you now.
That bike in the mix of it all has given birth to some really cool concepts. One of my favourite concepts was this like electric scooter thing. And I remember like Casey Neistat, or whatever his name is, he done a video.
Neistat.
A few like, I don't know, way back, of him riding this little electric scooter thing around the beach in California. And this thing looked really like this Harley concept bike that Harley had put together, this little kind of scooter, electric, sit on and twist and go thing.
Yeah.
And I think all that stuff, stuff like that's in the works. I mean, back in the 50s or whatever, we did the Harley Topper, which was a scooter. So Harley did produce a scooter at one point. I
never realised that. Right.
I think your thoughts and your kind of, that doesn't need to be based on any science or fact or whatever. It's kind of just an observation that people are buying these bikes. They're buying scooters. They're buying these like 350cc's and 250s and stuff like that to get them to and from. And I do genuinely think that they're a springboard for probably more people than you actually would think. There are going to be that core people that buy them literally to get to the train station.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Get to the office or whatever. But I think they're going to springboard more people than they won't actually onto other things. Because, once you take one overnight trip on your 50cc scooter with your pals when you're 17, so that's fucking it for life.
It's something that I love to hear, is when people email or message or just leave comments on the vids of like one of my trip vids or any of the vids, and I get comments like, I had never ever gone abroad or even gone around the UK, gone to any other, I'd never been on a longer trip than the local calf on my bike. Then I watched one of your vids and I decided, me and some mates, bugger it, let's do it. We've done it, and oh my God, it's just, it's opened our eyes to a whole new world. And that I love, because you're just like, awesome. It's so easy on a bike.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Jump on it, and off you go. And anywhere's an adventure, isn't it?
You see all this stuff. You see all this stuff, and then, like, for me, riding old vintage bikes, like riding old choppers and stuff, any kind of distance. I mean, like, why the hell would anybody ride something so unreliable, uncomfortable, and just like this fucking tractor? Why would you ride that to the Channel Tunnel and get on the fucking Channel Tunnel and then go into France, where I don't speak French, so if I break down and I can't fix it, I'm fucked. Why would you do that?
Hang on. I've got to say, you're talking about France and not speaking French. Why are you dressed like an onion seller?
I'm working on it, okay? This is all about European relations. I thought, it might work. This is actually a French Navy, funnily enough. No, I think riding motorcycles abroad is it's funny, isn't it? I love the UK and I love living here and I'm patriotic and whatever, and we have some amazing roads. I mean, all you got to look at is Wales and the West Country and, up to the Peak District and Scotland and, amazing. But there's just something about when you cross that little bit of water and you've got this enormous landmass in front of you.
100%, yeah.
I mean, let's all be honest. We want to get out of Calais as fast as possible because it's a shithole. But after that, it's lovely. I mean, Europe is amazing, and the people are amazing. They're so welcoming and warm. Unlike the UK, people that ride motorcycles, they fucking love them. They literally, they're like, they invite you into their homes. It's amazing. Everyone will always stop and help.
What's that?
Everyone will always stop and help.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's true. That is true. And I do think that's the case in the UK. But I think we're maybe probably not, it's probably not as prevalent as it is on the continent and certainly internationally. Like a biker sat at the side of the road, you probably will have to wait longer for somebody to stop. But then I've done it. I've ridden by other bikers, and I've thought to myself, you dick, why don't you stop? Go back and see. And if I'm on if I'm not on a dual carriageway or a motorway, then 9 times out of 10 I will spin round and pop back. Everything all right.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But I've also been in a situation where I have, like, when I got back from the world trip, like within a week, I went to meet up with a whole load of mates, and I lived in Watford at the time, and I was meeting them in Godstone, south of the M25, and I ran out of fuel on the way there. Believe it or not, I'm on the M25, and I thought I'll make Cobham Services, and I didn't. I ran out literally about 1.5 miles from Cobham Services, so I'm on the hard shoulder, and I just sat there, and I had to wait like 45 minutes for a couple of my mates to bring a jerry can of fuel to me, and not a single person stopped. Not a single. But it's the M25.
Yeah,
I can understand that.
That's fair enough.
But I've been in that situation on my trip, like countless countries in the world, where I have stopped at the side of the road, maybe just for a pee, something didn't sound right, I was lost, that sort of stuff. And 9 times out of 10, people just stop, and make sure you're okay.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I'm very much that mentality. I want to start. Fun enough, literally just down the road from here, there's a pub. A couple of summers back, it was just after the Bulldog Bash.
All right, yeah.
Stephanie and I had gone down to the pub for beer and bit of dinner in the sunshine, and I heard this Harley coming down the road, and this guy's like accelerating. Yeah, ears are up. I'm like, what's that? This guy flies past on this Sportster, and I hear him go up a gear, come down a gear, and then go silent. And I was like, I said to Steph, I said, that guy's in the fucking ditch, guaranteed. She's like, nah. I was like, look, I'm going down there. So I jumped on my little push bike, rode down there, lo and behold, the guy's in the ditch. Pulled him out of the ditch, helped him bend his brake lever back round. And
oh, no.
Yeah, fucking unbelievable. He'd obviously overdone it at the bash and like had way too many. But
Jesus.
Trying to get home. I think he was trying to get home in time. Like, probably get home before his missus found out he wasn't back in time. But yeah, anyway, he like crashed into this bush or whatever. And yeah, so you've got to help people out, I think.
Absolutely, 100%.
That's one
100%.
thing about motorcycling that is good, is most people, if you're not into bikes, then you probably wouldn't stop. But generally, people who ride bikes, and I think it comes with experience, if you start experiencing this stuff where you've had these problems and people have stopped to help you, you start to stop and help people. I mean, we did this.
Absolutely.
We did this on the M4. I was with Wade from Sick Boys Custom and Arnie, and there was this guy, Tom, who was riding to the Hookup Chopper Show in Wales, and he'd like lost all the nuts and everything for his Springer forks for the hub, for the axle. And he was sitting at the side of the road, and funny enough, Wade had a brand new set of springers in a box in the back of the van. So we gave him an axle nut, and he made it to the show.
Awesome.
You know?
Awesome. That's the thing. That's what I think. I reckon anyone that's involved in any sort of specific bike or any little sector, I'm sure surfers say it, I'm sure skateboarders say it, but it's your own little community, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you know, and you get to,
it just brings the best out in people.
It does.
Bring out the worst, but it can bring out the best.
And the internet's an amazing thing. So you've got to know these people now, and you get to talk to these people. There's this guy called Casey, right? And he runs H&C Custom. Okay, so if you want some cool parts for your Sportster or whatever, he's a really good guy to see. Shouldn't really be plugging him because I have my own fucking shop. But Casey, I love you, man. You're a good guy. So I met Casey on Instagram a few years ago, and I bought some axle plates for a hardtail frame from him. Really cool guy. And we were all going to Flanders Chopper Bash in Belgium. So again, I was with Wade and a couple of other guys. We're riding, Wade's in his van because he's got a few bits with him, and we were going to load some bikes in the van to save on the tunnel and stuff like this. Anyway, I digress. We get to you've got the junction just before you get on the tunnel, and there's this guy with an Ironhead Sportster just sat at the side of the road. So we pulled in, and turns out it's this guy Casey. I'd never met him before, face to face. So then I was like, dude, how's it going? He's like, oh, mate, my gearbox is completely like blown. Like, so I was like, oh, mate, that's bad. So all my mates have gone to the ferry because they were getting the ferry. So they've gone down to the ferry or whatever, and they've gone, and he's getting recovered. So Wade and I sort of had a little chat with Casey, and we were like, right, fuck this, cancel recovery. We put his bike in the van and we took him with us. So they were all going off to all his mates. He didn't tell his mates that he made it. They were all going off to do something. So we took him with us to across in the tunnel. Like, didn't charge him for the ticket or anything. Just like, you know, because we had it booked. We had enough space in the van. Yeah. Chucked him in the van, took him with us. Got him. Sorry, Eurotunnel. Got him to stay with us in Bruges. We went to this really cool like rock and roll hostel in Bruges called Charlie Rockets. Yeah. And every year,
I've heard of that. Yeah.
So every year, I mean, Flanders Chopper Bash isn't on anymore. The last one was last year, but every year they have like a pre-party at Charlie Rocket. It's an unofficial kind of. Everyone goes there and has a bit of a party. So we took him with us, and we had a bit of a party and a few beers. Then we went to the Chopper Bash, and he turned up, and all his mates were like, "Fucking hell!" It's just like, yeah. And then
Mega.
We took him all the way back with us, and then dropped him off at the Euro Tunnel exit. But obviously, before we got on the tunnel, he'd phoned recovery, so they were pretty much waiting there when he got there, and then took him home. Fucking brilliant weekend.
The system works.
That's it. That's
paying it forward. Paying it forward, brother.
Exactly.
Dude, I just realised something.
Go on.
We didn't start with Patreon. I was thinking to myself, I'm sure there were more Patreon questions than that. You because I get emails come through every time somebody leaves a comment or a question,
Now,
and it's been dinging away.
You are a professional.
Apparently.
However, I had read the Instagram questions before I came on, and I was kind of thinking questions. These are the Instagram questions, but okay, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's your show, bro.
I just thought to myself, my God, we never finished the Patreon questions. And I was like, I'm sure there was a load more than that. And then I looked, I was like, shit, that's Instagram. So we'll now go to Patreon. I do apologise.
Okay.
Sorry to all you clan members.
These guys are going to kick my ass. I can feel it.
Well, we might have covered, you know how conversation goes, we may well have covered a lot of things. First one's David Hemmings. To you both, what's the best Harley you have ridden and why?
You first. Because you've
kind of touched on some of yours.
Yeah.
I've only ridden the Street Glide and the Fat Boy, and I loved the Fat Boy. I loved it. I got a bit cocky on it because I was really apprehensive about the corner, thinking this is going to corner like the Titanic, and it went round, and I scraped the floor, and I thought, oh, okay. And then the next corner where I threw myself into it, it didn't want to go round that way. So, but I really enjoyed the experience. I loved the riding position. I loved the sort of grunt and the noise, everything about it. Loved it.
Amazing. For me, best Harley I've ever ridden. That's a really tough one because there's a lot of bikes that Harley have produced that I really, really love and I really like to ride. Highlights for me, the 2020 Lowrider S. It's brilliant. I love it. But
I'm going to have to ride that.
The 2017 Dyna Lowrider S, a brilliant bike. I remember in 2010, I did get moaned at, to be fair, a little bit. We had the Dyna Superglide Custom. Dyna Superglide Custom, look it up. It's your quintessential chrome fenders, looks like a Harley, quacks like a Harley, must be a Harley. Just a nice bike, tuck and roll seat. Just really like it. Mid controls, little buckhorn bars, just really comfy. You just kind of sit on it upright, knees up a little bit around the tank, just really comfy bike. And we had one come on demo, and I think I put 1,000 miles on it in a week.
Good ass.
Yeah, which like demo bikes are a customer's bike, not for you to fuck around on. But
it's always a good sign, though, isn't it? When you can't let the punter have it.
But you know, this thing's been registered for a week and it's got a bag of sand on it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what? Okay, I just really like that bike. It's a great handling bike. I tend to get myself in trouble with new demos. I remember when Buell released the 1125 CR, we taxed and registered it, and 3 hours later I had 3 points and a £60 fine. I mean, it did have 145 horsepower, so it was quite...
That'll do it.
Yeah, I'm quite childish, though. That was in December. I rode that in December, Bruce, so, like, come on, man.
Good effort.
You know.
December's not winter. February's winter.
But dude, you're from Scotland, man. I mean, you've got winter and June. That's it.
Well, this is true. Yeah. We've got raining and then really raining. Mind you, when I test rode the Street Glide and the Fat Boy, that was February and first week in March, wasn't it? Because the Fat Boy was literally days before lockdown came. Yeah,
the Fat Boy was about 35 degrees, I remember, though.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was scorching. Yeah,
so hot. It was good though.
Oh, loved it. Me and John, me and Mr. Fish, we had a top day. Next question, James Osborne. Now, this is very similar to these, but there's a slightly different angle to it. To both of you, which do you prefer to ride? Off-road, on-road, sports, or cruiser?
That's a wicked question, James. I like that. Okay, hands up. I have no off-road experience. None at all.
Don't do it, shit.
I have limited track experience. I have ridden on a racetrack twice, one of which was in Spain on a Harley comparison ride training thing that we did, where they brought out the new Softail models. We rode them back to back against the old Softail models at Monte Blanco. That was brilliant. I'm going to say on road, mainly because I like to travel. So for me, like traveling on, I mean, do you know what? I've been gagging to get something off road. I keep watching Mr. Fish on his 250 rally, scooting through the lanes. Like,
he's just had a big off.
Has he?
A big, oh yeah.
Get well soon, buddy.
There's a vid coming out.
Get well soon, buddy.
That was green lading with Pezza and Hippodrome.
But I do, so off-road, I would like to do it. I watch a lot of stuff, yourself, you know.
You're my subscriber. Thank you.
That's it, the one. I am the one. Lyndon Poskett, Races to Places.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to get him on here, yeah.
Love watching Races to Places. So, yeah, big up to Lyndon Poskett. Keep it coming,
Makes
mate.
it look effortless, doesn't he?
Yeah, although, again, I mean, I know I'm not anything to go by because of my stature. Met Lyndon Poskett after watching like a million episodes of Races to Places. Met him at the NEC a couple of years ago. I was like, fuck. I said Steph, because she was with me. I was like, that's Lyndon Poskett. She's like, go and say hello. I was like, oh no, I don't know what to say. So, anyway, I just went over and was like, hi Lyndon, nice to meet you. Like all this, you know, great, keep doing what you're doing, amazing. Kind of a little bit starstruck actually, because I was just like, this. I really look up to this guy. Turns out I really do look up to him. He is fucking massive.
I think he's like 6. He's about my height. I think he's 6'3".
Yeah, he's like you.
Even taller.
He's huge. I'm like, no wonder he makes it look easy. It's like he's riding a kid's bike around.
No. It's got bugger all to do with height, because I went off-road and was a proper fish out of water.
Oh, really?
Proper. But, I mean, I hated every second of it at the time. But looking back, I'm like, I've definitely got the bug, because I'm thinking to myself, maybe I could just get a little 250, 350 scrambler and do a little bit of green laning or something.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I see these 250 rallies and CRFs and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I could be up for that. I mean, saying I have no off-road experience is slightly a lie. I have ridden off-road once, because when we did the photo shoot for the Petrali Racer, I was hammering that up and down in the the woods over near Bisley shooting ground, because the army, one of our customers, they let us in to the training ground. They opened the barrier, let us in, and let's fucking rip around on it, which was great fun. So nice. I have, but I've never ridden off-road like properly or for any particular distance. I was just ripping around this tree section. But I'd like to do more of it. I think, if you can get muddy on it, I'm kind of excited about that actually, because I used to ride a lot of mountain bike stuff when I was younger, and like racing and racing downhill and stuff, and that's exciting. I like getting muddy and getting dirty and getting on it.
I totally get it. I do get it, and I do think if you can ride off-road, it will undoubtedly make you a better road rider.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just because you're gonna have better bike control, and you're going to be used to the bike moving underneath you, which is key. You know, and that never used to bother me, a bike moving. I used to like the feeling of a bike moving underneath me. And now, I don't know why, but now, it was since a couple of crashes ago, that one when I did my shoulder, that really freaked me out. And now, any feeling of the bike moving underneath me freaks me out now.
Yeah.
It's just, it's like I used to be so relaxed on a bike, and now I just feel myself go, oh, just tense right up.
It's funny the things you pick up as well.
I need to get that out of my system.
It's funny the things you pick up from people. Like watching I watched Long Way Down. Funny enough, Charlie was at the shop on Saturday charging up his live wire.
Seriously?
Yeah. That's the second time he's been in to do that. He's a nice guy. Really, really nice bloke.
I'd love to meet the bloke.
Genuinely nice bloke.
I want to get him on air, but I don't know how to get in touch with him. So if anyone knows him, please put a word in. Thank you.
I was watching Long Way Down, and there's the bit where they're trying to do the river crossing, and they walk the bikes across on the clutch.
Yeah.
And it's funny. It's the most simple thing in the world, but some of our bikes are massive, and I'm really small. So to manoeuvre them around sometimes is a bit of a pain in the arse. And we've got that slope into the shop, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
And I watched it, and I just thought, I'd seen it a million times before, and then I just watched it one day, like a few years ago, and it just suddenly clicked, and I was like, it's not a bad idea. And now, I'll put the bikes in gear and I'll walk them in. And it's funny what you pick up.
Did you not do that before?
No, it's funny what you pick up. I just pushed them like an idiot. It's funny what you pick up, isn't it?
I've always admired that at any dealership. You know, I always used to, when I was servicing my bikes and stuff, I'd always get there generally right at the start of the day because I'd come off a night. So I'd literally ride straight to the dealership off a night, or it would be just before nights. And you know, they were either getting the bikes out or they were putting the bikes away as I arrived. And to watch all the staff, how it's like a ballet, isn't it? The way the bikes come in and out and how it all works. And I just thought, I struggle with my own bike, let alone doing like 20, 30. I'd just be shitting about dropping.
We get them in and out every day, and it doesn't bother me. I mean, I remember when I first started, over a decade ago, and I'm trying to move this Ultra Limited, and I'm like, oh my God, this thing is enormous. Like, I remember my dad had an Ultra Classic electric glide, and obviously he used to go touring on it and stuff. This thing was a fucking hero. I mean, to sit on this thing and try and lift it up and sit there on it, it was shit, this thing's a monster. And now I'm like, well, you've seen, when I was riding that road glide, I'm like, fucking, let's go. It doesn't bother me at all. I love it. So moving that stuff around, but yeah, just like little things you pick up, and I'd love to. I have ridden an electric glide off road. Actually, that was a funny story.
Jeez.
So, we have this guy. He still comes to the shop. This guy called Dickie. What a character, mate. Honestly, right? So, forgive me. This is going to sound like we're in the fucking Twilight Zone now. So we decided to go out for this little ride, and Dickie was going to come with us. So anyway, we went out for this little ride. There's me, Toby, who is one of our area managers now. Stuff like that. There's a load of us. Anyway, Stephanie's come out. So she's on the back of this electric glide. I'm riding this electric glide. So Dickie's like, I've got to run an errand. So we've ended up somewhere Dunsfold way. I'm off-road, 2 up on an electric glide, because Dickie needs to take some old actress like Julie Andrews or Julie Walters or something. Julie Walters, I think it was. Yeah. Her beekeeping stuff back. So I'm off-road going down all these ruts and stuff like that, and these roots and stuff, and electric guy with Stephanie on the back, like, fucking hell, I'm going to throw this.
Oh my God.
Just to drop a beekeeping hat off. I mean, what?
You're making that. You couldn't make that.
In what other world would, apart from motorcycling, would you end up in a place like that, doing something like that? It's just random.
Absolutely. 100% random. Right, my bit for James. For me, it's road riding, although I'd love to be better off-road. And my favourite type of bike, you're all going to expect me to say GS, but the GS is not my ultimate road bike. My ultimate road bike so far, out of everything I've tried, is the new Gen 3 KTM Super Duke R. It's phenomenal. But the only reason I don't own one is because I need a bike to do everything, and the GS does that for me. So I go for that.
So every time I've spoken to you, after you, like every time I spoke to you when you had that thing, you were like a little child.
Honestly, loved it.
I thought
it broke down on me.
Yeah, I know. But you still love it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's like Buell for me. Every time I rode a Buell, they were just a nightmare. But they're a bit like they're the Alfa Romeo of the motorcycling world.
Yeah.
When everything works and it's perfect, it's amazing. Yeah. And then about 10 minutes later, it all turns to shit again. But
the Super Duke R, it gave me the grin factor like the Fat Boy did, but the Super Duke R will rip your spine out with the acceleration, and it does everything. You know, you can cruise along on it, and it's perfectly well mannered, and in the cities it was perfectly well mannered. But you drop a cog or two, open the throttle, and this thing is just an utter outright animal. But it's got manners. You know, while it's spanking your arse, it's making sure you're okay. It's
so
that kind of bike.
That. I like that. You get that with the live wire.
I have heard.
The live wire's like that.
Do you?
Yeah, it's funny. Like my brother was just like literally blown away by this thing, literally. So he rides a R6, and we went out for this little spin like a couple of weeks back, and literally at every traffic light he's like revving it up, grinning at me.
Yeah.
The lights would go green and I just go poof, gone.
Yeah.
And then I get to 115 miles an hour and he'd overtake me because that's what it's limited to. But the whole time...
It's annoying, isn't it, that they do that?
But it's got all this traction control and like all that and you know, the link braking system and everything, and it's really looking after you. It's just so nice to ride something that you will never... It's like that, 1000 RR BMW. You will never, ever, ever ride that bike beyond its limits. It will always outride you. Always.
Certainly not on the road. And if you're out riding that bike on the track, then you really are in the wrong line of work, and you need to be doing that for a living.
Yeah. And then have some angel over the top of you like Valentino Rossi, who can dodge motorcycles apparently.
Mate, what was that like? That was insane.
It was wicked, wasn't it? I was like, Jesus. That was crazy.
I mean, how'd you carry on riding after that? Never mind.
Did you not see the pits afterwards?
Yeah,
he gets off his bike, and he puts his bollocks into a wheelbarrow, and he carries them off to his hotel room. That's how that guy is, like literally balls of steel. They all are. Crazy, those guys are amazing. They're a different breed.
Absolutely
different breed.
Absolutely. I've got a mate of mine, Bob Collins. Don't know if you know Bob. He owns FWR Tyres in South London.
Okay.
And Bob's done the TT once, and he raced. He used to race the R6 Cup and all this sort of stuff. Fast as the man has incredible feeling for a bike. He slides the bikes around the tracks. Nuts, crazy. Bob said to me, which was a real eye-opener, when he went for the TT, I think it's something like the top 60 qualifiers get put through. You know, you do your qualifying, and then there's practice week and race week, and I think it's something like the top 60 or something like that people get put through. And Bob was saying he only just managed to get put through to actually go and race, and you're like, oh my God, you tell me there's people faster than you? It's like, oh Jesus Christ! And then once you actually go there and you see it, you're just, oh, this is.
I've never been to the Isle of Man TT, and do you know what? It's something on my bucket list I want to do.
Phenomenal.
I do want to do
absolutely phenomenal.
There's loads I want to do.
I had
loads.
Well, live your life, brother. You've got to tick them off.
Working on it.
Obviously, you've got obligations. Obviously now with the family, but you never say never. End of lecture. Next question, Andrew Scott. Are custom bikes purely about looks, or does the design take into account handling and rider ergonomics? Oh, good question.
Very good question. I like that. So there are two answers to your question. Yes and no.
Oh, okay.
Would you like me to elaborate?
Yes, please.
Okay, so...
No, we've run out of time.
Yeah, let's go. Done. Some bikes are purely built for the way they look. So, you know, we can build bikes with massive front tyres and even bigger back tyres. Long, big motors, really loud, elaborate wheels, elaborate sheet metal, big bars like this, you know, if that's what you're into. Big steamroller things. Not my taste. Look amazing. Probably great on the Pacific Coast Highway. Pretty fucking shit on a roundabout in Guildford. Gotta be honest. Useless. You know, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I like a bit of length.
Oh, that's in the teaser.
So I like a bit of length. So like long fork choppers, for me, I just think they look amazing. So, you know, like with a little 19-inch front wheel, just way out there. Little 19-inch front wheel, tiny little rabbit ear bar, something to hold on to while you're taking the length. But like, you know, again, won't corner for shit. Fucking useless. Look amazing. Look fantastic. So you can build for style, and then you could build for performance. So, for instance, Neil and Larry put together the Battle of the Kings bike last year, which was a Harley Davidson Road Glide, which is what I was riding when we went out. However, this thing was like it was on fucking steroids. Stage 2 motor, uprated suspension.
What's that mean? What's stage 2, stage 1?
Pipes, fuel management system, cams. I mean, this thing ripped. It made a hell of a racket. 2-in-1 Bassani exhaust on it. Thing was amazing. It was mega. Had like big body kit on it, big T-bars with like straight bars and uprated suspension and stuff like that. And this thing handled really, really well. This was a performance bagger. This thing would corner as good as it looks. It looked amazing. Went around corners. Neil and Larry did an amazing job with this bike. It looked fucking phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And big up to Jason Darling because he owns that bike and he still rides it. It's amazing. You know, that's a great bike. And that was performance. Yeah, it looked amazing, but the core of it was performance. And then, you know, we do stuff with Olin suspension and uprated front forks and, you know, adjustable dampening and all that. And then we had big motor kits. The Breakout, the root beer and black Breakout Pro Street sort of chopper that you saw when you came in, that had progressive front suspension and adjustable progressive rear suspension and a 1800cc Screaming Eagle tyre shredder motor kit in it, and you know, all the performance parts, but it looked amazing as well. So the answer is yes and no. Yes, you can have the performance parts. No, not necessarily. Sometimes you just want it to be loud, brash, big and bold, and it won't corner for shit because you only ride it from Starbucks to your bar, you know. Gotcha. I mean, I like stuff that's...
Style over function.
I like stuff that's kind of skinny, really, really skinny. I mean, you've seen my chopper, it's really skinny. I like... but I like things like, you know, I like tight. I like to be able to throw it in and out of corners. Like riding in town, you know, I like the bikes to be small because, you know, you see a gap in the traffic. If I can personally fit through that gap, my bike will fit through it because I'm the widest part of the bike. Bang, let's go. And you just zip through everything. I like that.
That's why I like GSs. If my ass fits through, the GS is going to fit through with panniers.
Yeah, I was going to say with panniers.
Cool. Right, next one. Ashley Wright. Hi, guys. Question. There we go. I was wondering when this would turn up. With the decline in sales of Harley Davidson globally year on year, do you think that the company would ever go bankrupt, or do you think the US government would step in to bail them out again?
Good question. I mean, yeah, there's no denying there's been a decline. I think we're trying to rectify that now. There are wheels in motion to bring in new riders across the board and new customers. People are doing all sorts of things. I mean, you know, I can't change the world, but I can change a little bit. Prime example, everybody, TeapotOne. Never ridden a Harley, you're converted.
No. Yeah.
You know, so
absolutely.
If all of us who have a massive passion for Harley Davidson and love it, live and breathe it as much as I do, if all of us just take that little extra opportunity to convert somebody over, and then the next person and the next person, keeps the dream alive. As a company, they're doing a lot of that stuff. We've got a lot of history and a lot of heritage to bring forward. You know, they're changing things up. You know, you've got the Harley Owners Group, which is an amazing thing, where, you know, you have all the group rides and everyone wears the patches on the back and stuff like that. Yeah. And that works for a lot of people. It's not really my kind of thing, but it works for a lot of people. But they're pushing that and doing that for those customers. But then things like the Hog magazine, the next issue that comes out, it's going back to the name of a magazine that came out originally like 50, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, called The Enthusiast. They're changing the name to the Enthusiast, which then obviously puts the arms around everybody else and brings those people back into the readership, as it were, rather than it just being the Harley Owners Group magazine. Do you know what I mean? It's all these little changes that are going to mount up to a big. How do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time. Simple as that, really. You know, it's quite a big job to increase and bring in all these new people that had never potentially considered a Harley before. But I've got to be honest, the majority of people that are walking through my shop door now never ridden a bike. In fact, actually, prime example, Saturday, I spoke to probably 3 out of the 5 people that I sort of had a good conversation with on Saturday didn't have a motorcycle licence. And they came in because Harley had piqued their
still in the shop.
That's it. Harley had piqued their interest. So, I mean, let's face it. Let's try and not go bust between now and when Donald Trump's gone, because he won't fucking bail us out, will he? He doesn't like us very much. But
no.
Yeah, whether we, I think I don't know. I can't see us going bust anytime soon. Harley Davidson's a pretty cash rich company, but well, I hope they don't. Because that'd be a shame, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, I think it would. It's such an iconic... But, I mean, you can never say never, because Triumph... I think Triumph disappeared and then came back, didn't they? They had to be bought out and come back. Norton, obviously, has gone through umpteen different incarnations.
Yeah.
Suzuki, I know Suzuki, it's not that long ago, Suzuki was almost at the point where they were going to pull out the UK, the bikes were going to pull out the UK. They're on a bit of a revival now, so I think it's just a storm that you have to weather. And I think Harley definitely was too stuck in its ways, but you can see 100%, you just need to step foot in any Harley dealership now, and you can see that they're not only getting up to date with the times, they're leading the way, because what they do is basically what Triumph now do, and it's promoting that culture, that community, the brand. You can't get away from it as soon as you step in.
I can only speak for Guildford Harley Davidson, because that's where I work, that's where I'm based, and you walk through the door and straight away you're greeted by a team who is from mid-20s to early 40s tops across the board, really, and the most of us are in our 30s, mid-30s,
ageist.
But what I mean by that is you probably walk in expecting a bunch of grumpy old timers who have been there, they've done that, they've bought all the t-shirts, and what the fuck do you know about it? And that's not what you get. You walk in and there's I'm so excitable about you buying your Harley Davidson, it's like I'm buying it. I'm so excited because, how fucking cool is that? You've come to get yourself a Harley. I mean, this is amazing. I remember when I got my first Harley and the way I felt, and to still have that excitement for people over a decade later, doing it for a living, it's just like, oh mate, why would I want to do anything else? It's amazing. I mean, to see your face when you got back from riding that street glide, that just made my day. It was brilliant, because I just knew
cool, man. That's cool.
That I had changed your preconception to an actual, fuck, I actually really like this. This is cool. This is actually really cool. Yeah. And then when I watched... When I watched the review back, and you're just like, literally like, I'm loving it. I'm like, yeah, amazing. Amazing.
I'd have one in my garage. I wouldn't buy one as my only bike, but if I could afford to have one, I'd have one as a bike in my garage for sure. Definitely. I think I know COVID's kind of messing stuff up for people at the moment, but genuinely across the board, there are a lot of people out there who don't have a pot to piss in, and they save their money and they get their one motorcycle. And if it's a Harley, fantastic. If it's a Suzuki, and they kind of make it be all things for them.
But then there's a great deal of people.
Mate, is your GoPro just beeped? Sorry, I thought I heard a beep, beep, beep.
I don't know. I'll check it's actually my phone, isn't it? Hang on.
Sorry. Oh yeah, sorry. I thought I heard the GoPro.
No,
it's not my GoPro.
I'm still recording. I'm all
Right.
good. It might have been you.
Awesome. No, mine's good.
So there are a great number of people, especially where I am in Surrey, North Hampshire, who run that rule of how many bikes do you need, what you have plus one. And they kind of have all these different bikes for different things, and that's nice. I mean, I'm very, very lucky. It's taken me a long, long time and a lot of hard work to be able to afford the 2 motorcycles that I have. You know, but I have, you know, it's nice to have different options. And I think, like you say, if you get to that point where you can have bike A, bike B, bike C, you know, you start putting these kind of things in your. I mean, I bet you were riding thinking, I'd like to do the Picos on this.
Yeah, that's basically what I think. Every single bike I take away with me now, I if I enjoy riding it, I start thinking, ooh, wonder what this would be like up in the mountains. Because to me, the Spanish mountains are just, they're the ultimate test of a bike, of a road bike, because you can ride that bike harder in more varied conditions in the Spanish mountains than I can anywhere else I can think of, certainly within Europe. You know, there's certainly nowhere in the UK will test a bike the way the Picos up in the mountains and the Picos will, because the stretches there, which are first, second gear hairpins, up and down hill, you're on the brakes, off the brakes, you know, trailing the clutch, front trail braking going in. There's other stretches where you can be flat out in 6th gear, absolute max speed, leaning the bike over. There's just such a variation of it.
So you've not had a Harley on one of those trips?
I just love to.
Have you?
No, I've not. No, never.
So
I don't know. I mean, in my head, I think, how the hell would a Harley get around some of the tight twisties in the Picos?
okay, I'm coming.
But I've taken.
I'm
Right.
coming.
Yeah, come.
I'm coming.
Come.
You heard
If
it
we're
here
ever allowed
first,
to
I'm
travel
coming.
again. Come. Right, do it.
Let's make it happen.
You're on.
I'm
Let's
coming.
do it.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm up for it. Definitely.
Oh, I've just seen who the next question
Go
is.
on.
See, we're late. Normally, this is right early in the podcast. Gets you thinking. Pete English. Hi guys, I'm ashamed to say I've never ridden a Harley, but must put that right at some point. Question 1. If you could clone yourself, which of your characteristics would you want left in the test tube?
My downright determination.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because with determination, you
Like
can pretty
that.
much achieve anything you want to achieve in life.
Liking that.
I'm because
liking
determination means that you can get knocked down and you get back up. And if you don't get back up, what's the point? So yeah, my determination.
Yeah. Same. It's something that I've developed. I think I probably did have it, but I wasn't really aware of it. Is that never give up? That, you know, just keep going. Just keep going. If there's something that you want to achieve, do not stop striving for it. And if you think you've reached it, what else
Exactly.
can you do?
I think if you give up on something, you obviously didn't want it that bad, because you just kind of went, okay, do you know what? I obviously didn't want it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I think there's a fine line of, it's not so much giving up on stuff, because sometimes you make decisions in life for the bigger picture. You know, you can't always look at things one-dimensionally. You know, I've made some decisions in my life just recently, in my working life, funnily enough, that from an outside point of view, you'd probably think, Mike, what are you doing? But then when I explain these things, which will all become apparent in the future,
Right.
it actually makes a lot of sense, and it actually frees me up to develop and grow more than perhaps I have been recently. So, you know, I think, determination is the one. You've got to pick, you know, determination allows you to pick your battles, but make sure that those routes that you take, when you get knocked back on route A, you walk all the way back and you go route B, instead of you just stop there. Come pick me up, I'm done. you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, I get you. Nice. Question 2. When do you take away Grandpa's bike keys? Ooh.
Never.
What if Grandpa is, you can see, struggling with the eyesight, struggling with the complex motor skills?
I love my dad. I love my dad. He's already there, fucking old bastard. When do I take his bike keys away? Never. Never take a man's bike keys away. At the end of the day, they'll know when to stop. They will.
Would they though?
So,
would they?
Dad got taken out 5 years ago now, I think. 4 or 5 years ago. He got T-boned by a car, broke his femur, fucked him up real bad. And I rode my motorcycle to the hospital to see him. Like, that felt weird, actually, really weird. And that knocked him for 6, and he's gagging to get back on a bike. But he's an old guy, you know, he's got medical issues, he can't walk right, struggles to hold the bike up. But I think some people are just pig-headed, and they're going to ride their bike. And I don't want to sound morbid, but like at the same time, I'm kind of pro-choice. As long as you don't hurt anybody else.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
If you want to ride your motorcycle and end up in a fucking ditch, that's kind of your choice, really. I think.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Taking someone's keys away, taking their freedom away from them. I mean, just imagine if someone did that to you. You know, I think for me, my dad knows when to stop, and truly, I think if you were to be totally honest with yourself, everybody knows when enough is enough. Some people call it a day a little bit early, I think, which is a shame, but, you know, they give up something that makes them really happy because maybe somebody else has told them that they're a little bit old, or at your age you shouldn't be. And it's like, I think you probably, you know, I've met some of the most sprightly, infectious, hilarious people riding motorcycles I have ever met are in their late 70s. And those guys can fucking ride. And their kids and their wives.
Well, there's a reason they've got to that age,
exactly,
right?
But their kids and their wives are telling them to give up, and they're like, you know, when I hit like 85, if I'm really struggling with this, then maybe I'll knock it on the head. Most of them say, maybe I'll get something smaller. Do you know what I mean? I think, taking Grandpa's keys away, nah, no fucking way. It's not my place. I'm his child, not his keeper.
I think you nailed it there. Is as long as you're not harming anyone else, then I don't care what age you are. I think the issue would be if you can see someone that is plainly like not in control of their complex motor skills.
Yeah, I think so.
Like do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think if somebody got to that stage and yet they're still pushing themselves to get on a bike, and you can see that you ain't managing that, it's almost, it would have to be that extreme in order to go, whoa, okay, maybe we need to go and have a little chat with an optician or a doctor and make sure everything's all right.
Yeah, I think there's constructive intervention. Where you sort of say, you didn't see that, did you? Or you're having trouble with this, holding this up. So, you know, and it could be something as simple as, let's get an eye test and change your prescription. Let's lower your suspension so this bike's easier for you to manage because your feet are flat on the floor. Things like that. But it does get to a point where, like, if they are fucking dangerous, then that's the time. But at the same time, you've got to think, like, that person has probably got to be at that point where they're like, do you know what? Actually, you're right. And they've probably had a scare. So you're probably halfway there already. But in answer...
maybe they just need somebody to step in and go.
But in answer to the question, no fucking way. It's not my place to take someone's keys away.
The thought of somebody telling me I can't ride, it's horrific. It's absolute. It's almost like it almost makes me feel the way I did in the old Bill when they turned round to me and said, you've got to stop TeapotOne. You cannot do any of your motorbike stuff anymore. And that, to me, you may as well just push me off the top of a building, because it's like, yeah, I mean, there's literally, it's like, well, you've given me one choice here, because that's my life.
That's part of what makes you.
It's the oxygen in my lungs, that. So if you get rid of that, what's the point?
What was it my dad said? He said, wife said to me once, she said, if I had to choose between my wife and my motorcycles, I wouldn't half miss her. I was like, Dad, that's my mum. But I feel you, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I get you totally.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. What's up? What's
next question. Colonel Bullen to Mike. Do you own any other motorbikes? If you had to choose one bike and it can't be a Harley, what would it be?
Oh, good question.
Now, you only own the two Harleys. I'm saying only. You own two Harleys.
I own two Harleys at the moment, yeah. If I'd... Right, okay, so we went on another trip to Spain a few years ago, and we're riding around Seville. And the country manager, Dave Hackshaw, at the time, we were in the hotel bar on the last night before we left. And it was like competitor ride training. So we're riding all these different competitor bikes and stuff. And he said to me, so what have you learnt on this competitor ride training program? I said, well, what I've learnt is that I really, really like the 1200 Triumph Explorer. It's really fucking cool. And he was like, that's not the answer I was looking for. I was like, okay, well, all the Harleys are really cool, but I just really like that bike. However, I've got to be honest, R9T Urban GS. Yeah. Fucking great. So we went up to...
I've not ridden the Urban one.
It's amazing. It's such a cool bike. I just really liked it. It looks like this old Dakar bike from the 80s, but with bundles of power.
It does look good.
Like white tank, the blue and white stripes down it, big red seat, like just kind of off-road, on-road, really funky kind of street scrambling, cool bike that really goes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just really like that bike. I don't know why. I've just always liked it. It's fucking cool.
So it's basically you like to GS. Basically what Mike's saying is the GS is the best bike in the world. Basically that's what you just said.
Yeah, in a roundabout way, I suppose I did. Okay. Yeah, no, I really like that bike. I think if I was to have if I was to have any bike right now, other than a Harley, it would probably be an Urban GS actually, because I think you can go anywhere on that bike, absolutely anywhere, and it handles really well. It's got enough ground. It's got enough ground clearance that if you needed to get down some tracks, you could. Yeah, I just think it's a cool bike. Looks the part. Yeah.
I'll have to try and get one of them and take one for a spin. Right, next one. Robert Forster. Question 1. Why do you think Harley has the reputation it has when other brands have been able to change over the years, but Harley still has a certain image associated with it? Well, we kind of touched on that a little bit, haven't we? They are starting to change.
Yeah, they are.
Harley is starting to change.
They haven't needed to. That's the thing. Like, it hasn't been broken. I mean, it's not broken now. But to use that kind of saying, if you like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Well, it hasn't been broken for so long. It's been the whole mix has made a perfect cake for such a long time. Why change the recipe? It's only now that we're having to modify the recipe to bring new people in because, you know, yes, a lot of our customer base are dying off, if you like. But a lot of that the new customer base from a few years ago are carrying on and they're bringing new riders in. It's all change. It's all change all the time. I got a bit nostalgic the other day, actually. We had a summer barbecue at the shop the other day in the yard. Just literally Aaron burnt some sausages and we had a few beers and that, and we were talking about like 2010, 2012, shops full of motorcycles, all the hog chapter and all the old boys, and we don't really see them anymore because they're all really getting on a bit now and stuff. And we're almost talking about it like it was the glory days, and looking back on it with rose tinted glasses. And then, but I was just like, do you know what though? Like, look at all the stuff we've done in 2020 with COVID and the customers that we've got now, and all the fun that we're having with all these new people. It just goes on. It just carries on. It really does. I think we are changing it up, and I think you'll find actually a lot of dealerships, and you said it yourself with Triumph, for example, they're almost following the model. When you walk into the shop, the experience in most motorcycle shops has changed to a very inclusive, fun,
100%.
bouncy atmosphere where everyone wants to be part of it. And then, whereas Harley, it's always been like that. Unless you happen to walk into, there are a handful of dealerships, unfortunately, out there in the country where you walk in, you kind of get frosty reception. But generally, I mean, speaking for Guildford, it's good fun.
I've had that in feedback when I did the couple of Harley review vids, because I said that the second I walked into that, it's difficult for me now because, not sucking myself off here, but I'm sort of now at a level where I'm reasonably well known. So if I walk into a dealership, the people in the dealership might.
To be honest, mate, my agent said I had to do this. I'd never heard of you.
Do you know what I mean? But it's like, if I go into a bike shop, generally someone in there, maybe normal 9 times out of 10 it's a punter, will come up and go, "Are you TeapotOne?" And it's awesome. I love it, but it does happen. So if that stuff starts to happen, and the dealership didn't know I had a YouTube channel or anything beforehand, they pretty quickly realise, oh, hang on a minute, this bloke's got a YouTube channel, somebody's just come up, and all of a sudden you do get treated differently.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you do get treated differently. But like my sort of love affair with BMW came at a time when I wasn't recognised, and I just started going in to get them, and I was treated the way, certainly exactly like how I was treated when I turned up in Harley, and people are just, nobody hassles you, they're just, how you doing, everything all right, everyone's friendly, yeah, this is that, what do you need to know about, boom, boom, boom. And it was just it's a very welcoming environment. Absolutely. And you're made to feel like, there you are, this is what we've got, have a look, see what you like, everyth's chilled out, take your time, I'm here if you need.
So obviously I watched your videos, I followed the round the world trip, and I know who you were and are, and I sort of obviously had the conversation with Aaron, who's our dealer principal, about you coming in the first time when we finally sort of got talking about getting this happening. And I didn't
3 years later.
3 years later. But I didn't tell anyone else. Genuinely, I didn't tell anyone else. So the reception you got before I got to you was the reception that everybody gets. Walk into the shop, big smile, how you doing, how can I help? Even if I can't help you or I'm dealing with a customer, I will ask you if you're okay and what can I do for you, and point you in the right direction, or ask you politely if you could just hang on for 10, 15 minutes while I deal with this, and then I'll come and see you. I always get back to people. Generally, the reception you got is the reception everyone gets, and I think a lot of dealerships are now starting to catch on to this whole customer care thing, because at the end of the day, everyone wants a deal on their bike. Of course they do, right? But 9 times out of 10, there are the people that will just literally go for the lowest price. But 9 times out of 10, you will probably buy the bike from if you're looking at 100 odd quid here or there, you're probably going to buy the bike from the guy that looked after you, because you're going to get the aftercare, than the guy that just pulled his pants down and gave you no care at all. people are wising up to it now because it's so easy just to shop online. People, I don't know about you, but it's so easy to buy stuff off eBay and Amazon and just go online. I almost crave a bit of retail experience. Actually talking to a human being, and especially when you're making a purchase, like, you know, because I mean, what's a GS run out now?
Anywhere from sort of 15.5 to, well, like the adventures, once you put all the toys on them, 20 grand.
You're not going to go on the fucking internet and add that to your basket, are you?
No.
You want to talk to someone.
Not me.
You want to talk to
way.
someone. So, relationships, that kind of level of purchasing, relationships become important. And I think a lot of dealers are getting that now. So I think in terms of Harley changing, yes, we're changing, but I think a lot of manufacturers are changing to be like us as well.
Yeah. I've got to admit, though, when it comes to just buying, for me, I will buy a bike wherever I get the best deal from. Generally, wherever I get the best deal to buy the bike from.
You're that guy.
Where I service...
No, that's fine.
But where I service my bike is an entirely different equation, and it's very much down the line of what you said. You know, when I go there, if I get a good gut feeling from the place, if I get good customer service, I don't care where it is. I now get my bike serviced over in Vines in Guildford. That's 85 miles just to get there. So it's a 170 mile round trip to get my bike serviced. But I'll do that because the service there is brilliant. Where I used to get my bike serviced, they've had a total change of staff, and it's...
So you're looked after by Mike and his team at Vines, Mike Wilson.
It was a lady that dealt with me.
The guy that runs...
But it's all COVID.
The guy that runs the service department at Vines used to be the service manager at Guildford.
Ah, cool.
Service.
Oh, right. I'll look for him next time I'm in there.
You can't miss him, mate. He's a big, thin on top, long beard guy. Looks just like you, funny enough. Yeah, you can't miss him. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Oh, stunning.
Devilishly handsome.
Stunning. No, he's a nice guy, Mike.
Yeah, but I'm totally like that. Like, in terms of, if there's going to be somewhere where I'm going to go consistently and spend my money, then yeah, I'm all about what is the gut feeling, what's the customer service like, and I would rather pay more to get good customer service than look for the bargain basement bucket section. But I will go there to buy the bike. To buy the bike, I want the best deal, service,
I think
best customer service.
I mean, the nice thing about Guildford is you get a really good deal. We look after people. I'm very... I've got my finger on the pulse. I know what's going on in the market. I see what's for sale. I generally get an idea of what's going on. I get a lot of figures and feedback from the manufacturer in terms of like who's selling what into what area. So I know where I stand, and I'm doing all right, you know, in terms of like other dealer areas that I'm pumping bikes into, and who's not pumping into me, to be honest, which is great. So you get a great deal, but we want you to keep coming back. The thing about Guildford Harley is it's always been this destination dealer, and then having Guildford Custom there as well has been really good because it gives people stuff to go, fuck me, that's cool. Oh my God, there's another one, you know, and all these custom bikes, especially in the winter, because all the custom bikes start coming back for servicing or storage, and all of a sudden the shop fills up with all this exotic stuff. But people turn up, and it's a destination as well. So you have to have that service level. Because if you walked in and we all didn't look at you and just kind of ignored you and let you wander around, and it's my biggest pet hate is, you know, the main thing that drives me nuts is when you walk into a place. For instance, like if you can walk into a dealership that's on 2 levels, if you can make it upstairs without anybody saying hello to you, that's the time to leave. Absolutely, because if you can get all the way up there and no one said a word, they're going to be useless.
But then, for me, if I walk into a dealership and they're on me straight away, and it's not just hello, how are you doing? It's like sell. If they're like that, I'm just like, oh, give me give me some space. Chill, you know what I mean? But if they just come up and saying hello, no problem at all.
So that's,
Can I help you at all? No,
that's
everything's
my
alright.
biggest thing as well, actually. I find you have to diffuse the situation sometimes. I mean, you know, obviously pre-COVID we had all the coffee and all that stuff going on, and it's like literally I'd like say good afternoon and someone would say just looking. I was like, that's fine, I'm just saying good afternoon. I tell you what, let's start again. Let's start again. Hi, I'm Mike. Would you like a coffee while you're browsing? I'll go and grab you a cuppa. I'll leave you alone. If you've got any questions, then you can come and find me. And that diffuses the situation.
Beautiful. Perfect.
You know, it's, I think, because like people say salespeople are the easiest people to sell stuff to. I'm a nightmare. You know, because I give a certain, this isn't an arrogance thing or anything like that. This is just purely because like I like things to be right. So if you're selling to me, don't go for the jugular as soon as I walk through the door. Build a relationship with me, talk to me, build some trust, build some rapport. You know, let's get to know each other a little bit. You know, like you got
wine me, dine
exactly.
me.
You got to buy me dinner before you know. So so I like to give that kind of service as well.
How does that go again?
Buy me dinner before you. There's the outtakes. Beautiful.
Stephanie's a very, very lucky woman. It is Stephanie. It is Stephanie. It is Stephanie. Yeah.
Well, this one, yeah. Joking, love. Sorry, love you.
Right, we'll move discreetly on. Emily Blackburn, hi there. Where do you get your inspiration from for your designs, and how do you do all the fabrication work yourself? We kind of touched that.
I steal everything, and I do nothing. No, where do they come from? So the world is this amazing place, and then we have this amazing online shop. Well, I have two of them actually. They're called Facebook and Instagram. And Facebook and Instagram has, you know, so first you had the TV and the bike build-off shows and stuff on Discovery and all these crazy things and the magazines, like, you know, in the UK especially, you had like 100% Biker, Backstreet Heroes, that kind of thing. You know, and then you've got Dice and Greasy Culture and Choppers Magazine and Easy Riders and all this really cool stuff, okay? So, but then you have like the online shops, Facebook and Instagram, and you see all this stuff. Where do I get my ideas? Okay, so, I like that, and I like that. If I put those two together, that'd be really cool. And if we add that in, look at that, it's amazing. We've got this amazing bike idea, you know, from a mixture of all these different bikes. I don't care what anyone says, and they can turn around and tell you that they're like the greatest motorcycle designer ever. Rah. No. Nobody's doing, when no one's reinventing the wheel, everybody's doing a revision of something that was done before. Absolutely. You know, everything is something slightly different to something that was done before, modified, added to, made to look cooler or different or something. So where do I get the ideas? I don't steal them at all, you know, it's, but everything is kind of inspired from stuff I have seen before. So from the chopper guys in the late 50s to something cool I've seen, you know, from, you know, the AMD World Championships of custom bike building, you know, it's one of those.
So what's the sort of, is there such a thing as a general turnaround period for a bike? So a punter comes to you with an idea for a design. They say, this is what I want, or I've got an idea that I would like this mixed with that, mixed with that, mixed with that. How long do you say, right, that'll take us, or do you just say it'll be ready when it's ready?
Do you know what? I like to say it'll be ready when it's ready. Purely from the point of view of, the thing about custom motorcycles is, like, even if you're buying parts off the shelf, so you buy the fender and the tank and everything, you know, And then I give it, and I give all this stuff to Neil, and I say, I give him the brief, and we talk through it all. And Neil and Larry have to put this stuff together, and none of it ever fucking fits, ever. Such a pain in the arse. Everything has to be modified. So to turn around and say, you could be looking between 4 weeks to 3 months, depending on the level of build, and then you have other factors. So some of the fabrication we outsource to a couple of different fabricators that we've got that we use for some more intricate stuff and when we need specific stuff made. So, for instance, I designed this really cool license plate and tail light bracket that we use on all of the cookie cutter bikes. So I literally on the back of a fag packet, I draw this number plate, license plate mount, with a tail light, everything, and then I have the brackets made by this fabricator down the road from us, and he produces he'll do like 10 of them at a time, and then we've got them in stock.
Gotcha.
But then you've got like delays with the fabricator because he's not got the metal or he's on holiday. Painters are a law unto themselves. I love all my painters. So
I was going to ask, do you paint in-house or do you outsource?
Big shout to Gary at Surrey Custom Airbrush. Big shout to Tony Pittock, Stig's Custom Paint. Big shout to Tom and Mandy and everyone at Image Design Custom. Amazing painters, all busy, all in demand, all can sometimes be delayed because they've got a lot of work on, or something goes wrong with another job or whatever. And so how long's a piece of string? These things take time. And I think the key with any motorcycle project, house build, kitchen, anything that's going to be made in life, the key is communication.
Absolutely.
Keep people informed. Weekly, if not every few days, an update, then you know where you are. Simple as that. You buy a custom bike from Guildford Custom, you're going to know what's happening. We have a fantastic build that is about to be started at the end of September on a 30th anniversary Fat Boy for one of our customers who's been dreaming about having a custom bike built by us for a very long time. He's retired now from his company. He has got the money to do it. So he bought a 30th anniversary Fat Boy. He ordered it from us 5 months ago, maybe longer. It literally arrived last month. He took delivery of it. All the parts are sitting in the workshop ready to go. This thing is going to be amazing. I'll make sure that we get some photos out to you as well so you can have a look at it when it's done. But
nice. Yeah, please.
But he wanted to ride the bike. He was like, look, I want to get started straight away and then I can ride it this summer. And I was like, let me stop you there. There's quite a lot involved in this. Tell you what, ride your new motorcycle, enjoy your new motorcycle, drop it off at the end of September, beginning of October, and then you will be on the road for the new season with your custom bike. Because there's no way that I'm going to be able to do it in 3 weeks,
Yeah.
So,
fair
that's generally my feel is keep people informed. Things do take a little while. Sorry, I rambled loads there.
No, man, oh God, no, don't worry about that. Crikey, no. Next question, Grant Bocott. Bo, how you doing? Hi both. What is Harley's USP in the UK market? Given their relatively high prices, is it brand and lifestyle alone or something else?
What?
Very highbrow.
Why wouldn't you ride a Harley? It's cool, man. Like panty peeler motorcycles. That's what we build.
Panty peeler.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. Okay. Right. This is the stereotypical view of anyone that's never actually ridden a Harley or they'd ridden an old Harley. Okay. And I'll say this because I held these viewpoints with absolutely no qualification whatsoever because I'd never actually ridden one. They vibrate like hell. They break down. They rust. They're not reliable. the electrics are crap, and I don't wear a patched denim or leather waistcoat. There you go.
Yeah.
Now that I've ridden one, I would say they do vibrate, but for me, it's sort of part
In
of
a good
it.
way.
It's the bike's alive. The bike's living and it's breathing, and it's not a lump of metal that you're sat on. It's an entity. This thing it's alive as it's taking you down the road, and it's like part of the journey. So I've got no issue with that. Reliability, I've got no idea. Workmanship, all I can say is they look incredible, they feel incredible. I've got no idea what they're like to live with day to day. You tell me.
Okay, so first thing to touch on, I think, is the lifestyle and the brand. We have one of the most recognisable brands in the world. And
100%.
Harley Davidson generally has given birth to a lifestyle or way of living, if you want to, however you want to put it, that has stood since the 50s. So, of course, we're gonna play off that. Of course we are. You've got to cash in on what you're good at, and that's something that's amazing. The motorcycles, however, let's take our touring bikes for a moment. Okay, so there are bikes that stop a little better, perhaps. There are bikes that are a little bit smoother or faster or go off-road or whatever. But let's put everything together.
GS.
Everything together. Nobody makes a touring bike that does pretty much everything as good as a Harley touring bike.
GS.
From all the reflex, link braking system, the traction control, the handling, the stereo.
GS.
Yeah, how good's the stereo on the GS?
Not a GS. Nah, K1600.
Why? God. Last time I rode a K1600 GS and nearly fell asleep. So boring. No offence, anyway.
It's not. The thing does 160 miles an hour.
And
it's
then
phenomenal.
What does it do after that?
Well, what I don't.
There you go.
Fun.
There you go. You see, you're like, no. Nobody makes a touring bike like we do, and that's a fact. It's the best touring bike on the market. It's comfortable, loads of storage.
Nah.
It's amazing.
I love what I know of Harley, but I don't agree with that. You're going to say that.
I have to.
I don't agree with that.
It's the law. But no, genuinely though, I believe that we make the best touring bike on the market. I genuinely think that.
There are people screaming at their computers and phones as we speak.
Bothered. Come and ride one. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, that
Come and ride one. Tell me I'm wrong.
100%. I say that. Yeah, go and ride one. Then form same as jet, same as any bike though, isn't it? It's like I used to hate GS's, then I rode one.
Yeah.
I hated adventure bikes, then I rode one. Didn't like off road, then I went and rode it. And okay, at the time I shit myself because I felt so out my depth. But now I've definitely got bitten by the bug and I want to do more.
Yeah.
Never ridden a Harley. Why would I ever do that? I've ridden Harleys and now I'm like, God, give me the fleet. I want to try all of it. So it's one of those things, isn't it? It's you can't form a qualified opinion until you're qualified in it.
I think,
like for us, ride the bike.
I think I am biased, and I'm the first to put my hands up and say my passion for Harley Davidson, regardless of the fact that I do it for a living. Okay, let's put that to the side. My passion for Harley, the lifestyle, the motorcycles, literally, I live and breathe it every single day of my life. It is what I do. It is what I love. The history, the whole, Harley Davidson is a fucking icon. Fact. And I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. So for me, everything we do, when we do bad, to be honest, I like to brush it under the carpet. Street 750. But when we do great, I shout it from the rooftops, and I genuinely feel that we, as an all-round touring bike, to do everything and to travel across America or to travel across Europe or to travel across, you know, if you're riding on the road and you want to see places in comfort, listening to your favourite music on digital radio with all the sat-nav and the heated seats and the comfort and all the storage to take everything you could possibly want with you, buy a Harley Davidson touring bike. Because I tell you what, you could do 1,000 miles in a day and your arse will not be bothered. Amazing.
Yeah. I know people that have ridden them around the world. There's numerous people out there that have taken Harleys around the world. They can do it. Even off-road, they can do it.
They do it.
In Russia, I remember sections of off-road in Russia when I'm on my Gixxer, and there's Harleys there as well. I remember seeing a geezer on a Harley doing the off-road, and you're like, fair play to you. Fair play.
They do it.
There's people on GSs like getting off and pushing the bike through it, and then this Harley just steams straight through it, followed by a Gixxer.
I've got a customer of ours, a guy called Andy, and he's got a 1200 Sportster, and it's got this massive tank on it, and written on the tank is covered. Written on the tank is every country he's ever ridden in. This guy's ridden everywhere. Like, he's ridden up to the Arctic Circle in Alaska, all the way up the Dalton Highway on it. There's pictures of his bike resting on a rock as he's changing the tyre with a glacier behind it. Amazing.
Yeah,
this is a 1200 Sportster.
Man.
And I remember when I first met that guy, and his bike was in the car park, and he'd like literally just laid it on its side to like fix something, and then picked it back up again. And then I walked back in the showroom, and someone was telling me that Sportsters were girls' bikes, and I was like, just nip outside and have a look at that Sportster out there and tell me that's a fucking girl's bike, mate. Honestly, amazing, absolutely incredible. You know,
I love that when people use a bike. You know, I understand people are precious about their machines at times. I do. There's, you know, they cost a lot of money. They mean a lot. And I understand why some people don't want them to get dirty, they don't want them to be damaged. But I love to see a bike that's got a story, you know, it's dented, it's scratched, it's been used. It's, you know, you look at that bike and go, Jesus, that thing's earned its living, you know what I mean? I love that.
I wish I could say that about my chopper, but it just fucking fell over. So
sorry. I can't hear Chopper without thinking. Have you seen that? There was a video clip. What's Angry Kid? Have you seen it? Angry Kid. It's like a cartoon, like a stop animation cartoon
Mum,
of this ginger
butt
kid.
plug?
Mum, what's it? Yeah, what's a butt plug? I've got a chopper. He's got that horn. Brilliant.
Yeah,
love it. Sorry, we digress. Did we answer Bo's question? What is HD's USP in the UK market, given the relatively high prices? Is it brand and lifestyle alone or something else?
It's a brand and lifestyle.
Did we answer
and
that?
I think the technology a bit, but I think, you know, prime example, we went all out with tech on the... So it had the HD Connect app, which you know, has tracking on it. You can upload maps into the sat-nav and stuff. Works with the Livewire and the touring motorcycles. Uptake on it, 0. Really? They've dropped it. Within the year, they've dropped the HD Connect app because...
Is that because the market's generally a bit older?
Yeah, I think generally people are buying into the lifestyle and the travelling and the Connect, you know, jumping on a smartphone, you know, and all that. I mean, to be honest, like, I like having a smartphone. It's great for catching bits of video and stuff, you know. And it's great for, like, big shout out to you, to be honest, Bruce, because I'd never heard of the Calimoto app. Downloaded the Calimoto app. Right. Love it. It's wicked. I want to plan a little route. It's brilliant. I'm definitely...
It's got little idiosyncrasies, But once you know how to use it,
Yeah.
I think it is taken over for me. I don't use another sat nav
So
anymore.
I'm planning a bit of a trip.
But you need to,
Planning a bit of a trip next year with a few buds. We're going to make a feature-length film filmed in my style. Lots of epic cinematic drone footage and all that stuff. We're going to use the Kalimoto app to plan all the routes. It's brilliant. And so from that point of view, it's great. But I think a lot of people who buy Harleys they throw their cell phone away and they chuck their watch away. Like, why the fuck do I want to know what time it is when I'm riding my bike? That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of the lifestyle thing. So I think a lot of people buy into that rather than the tech. For me, I love the tech, and considering the bikes that I ride, you'd think he loves the tech. Is he fucking mental? But I do. I love that. And I love the fact that we're pushing that, but we know when to stop. And, I think so. Yeah, I think it's more the lifestyle and how cool it is, really. I mean, everybody knows who you are when you pull up on a Harley Davidson. As much as that sounds proper fucking cheddar cheese, it's a fact. You make a statement. Even if you do park at the local Starbucks, you make a fucking statement when you pull up. Fact.
Yeah,
lifestyle.
Definitely. Yeah, I get that. Mm-hmm. Right, next question is Chris Cunningham, and we've pretty much we have answered this. I understand it's art, but do you build also for usability and practicality, also reliability, as cruisers don't really suit the roads in the UK as a whole? Bikes need to be nimble and stop well. So we sort of answered that right early on, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, I'd elaborate
depends
on that though and say that cruisers do suit the UK, and they do stop and they are nimble. I mean, even the Fat Boy with a 160 front end and a 240 rear end, you were fucking loving it on those Sussex lanes. So yeah, they do.
But you adapt your riding. It's like any bike, really. You adapt your riding to suit the bike, the machinery you're on. Yeah. But what I found with the Fat Boy is, if I have to slow down and I can't ride at a certain speed or in a certain manner, it annoys me, and I see that as a deficit for that machine. But with the Fat Boy, it was like, okay, maybe the handling side of things meant I couldn't corner possibly as fast as I would on other bikes, but the grin factor and just the sheer enjoyment out the ride was through the roof. So it was just like, okay, you maybe lose a point on that, but you'll gain one on this.
It's funny, isn't it? You get stuck behind a lorry and there's not enough room to overtake, so you're just kind of cruising and you're just like
loving it.
So on a Harley, what you do is just back off a bit and then you go bah, and that just makes you feel better. And then you back off a bit and then you accelerate up to it, and then you back off a bit and you accelerate up to it. And you just make a lot of noise.
That in the video.
Yeah.
I even said that in the vid. It's like, I am perfectly happy.
You just make a lot of noise. Just make a lot of noise.
Whereas on other bikes, it's like any traffic in front of me is a target. I have to overtake it. But on the Harley, it's just like
cruise. Just like whatever.
I'm loving life. This is awesome.
That's it.
Right. Mate, that's nearly 3 hours. Gee whiz. Neil Hamilton. Even with Brexit moving us outside a lot of EU rulings, how long do you see customisation... Oh, this is a good one. Customisation and building being able to survive, as in the view of the sword of Damocles of more rigorous type approval hanging over the biking community... this is a long question. Together with increasing legislation, all supposedly moving our world to a position of normality. Wow. So basically, I think he's saying, with the increasing legislation of EU rulings, do you think there's a future in customisation?
Who knows, man? Look, you said it earlier. They're doing everything they can to get us off the road. I mean, we've got... Like Jekyll and Hyde, the exhaust manufacturer, a prime example. Jekyll and Hyde exhausts are really popular in Germany because you can switch them on and switch them off. So you're getting anywhere near the cops, You press a button, makes your pipes quiet.
Mate, I've never heard of them.
Yeah, I mean, they're very expensive, and to be honest, like, I think personally in the UK at the moment, they're a lot of money for something that you're going to go, oh, check this out, I can make it quiet, I can make it loud. And then you do it 3 or 4 times and then you never press the button again, you just leave it loud.
Yeah.
Who knows, man? Who knows? You know, at the end of the day, eventually they're going to shut us down. And we're going to all be riding electric vehicles and driving electric cars.
Yeah, but I think, I honestly, hand on my heart, I do think electric's the future, but people are going to want to customise it. It's human nature.
Yeah, of course they are, but
it's just
when you get
human
to that
nature.
Point, I think, you know, there'll be workarounds. There'll be things that you can do. I mean...
Oh, 100%.
You know, I don't think that you're ever going to kill off people's individuality and their want to be different and stand out. So I guess my answer to the question is probably no. They're not going to do that. In terms of internal combustion engines and modifying and customizing, eventually all good things come to an end. You know, I mean, eventually electric will come to an end and we'll move on to biofusion, cow shit powered, I don't know.
Nuclear.
Yeah, but you'll never ever take away people's, you know, want to express themselves. I mean, you know, art goes back to people drawing on cave walls. So
yeah, absolutely.
And nobody has outlawed drawing yet. So I don't think that that's going to happen. Does that make sense?
100%, yeah, totally get you.
That's too broad to go, right, we'll shut the book on that, you're all done. And to shut down a multi-billion pound worldwide industry is going to take a lot. Do you know what I mean?
And I mean, we have to be realistic about this. It will never be shut down. It will just morph into something that will hover around the legislation, as does a lot of
as
other
does everything
aftermarket.
we do now. And
exactly.
I'm very pleased. I mean, I don't expect to ever go down in history for anything, but I'm very pleased to be in the time that I'm in now and live through this cool period.
Yeah,
it's cool. It's cool.
Mate, awesome. Well, that is us hammered all the Patreon questions and all the Instagram questions.
Happy days.
Liking it. Nice. 2 hours. Well, my clock says 2 hours 50, but we had about 5-10 minutes of faffing at the start, so that's not bad at all, boy. Nearly 3 hours. Where's that going?
I know. It's been a pleasure, mate, to be honest.
Mate, I loved it. I always enjoy chatting with you, and I'm not just saying that. It's a lot of fun.
No, thanks to everyone for their questions, and geez, thanks for having me on. I mean, you've had some epic guests, and then you have me. I mean,
don't be daft.
Let's go.
This whole, I mean, the whole channel. I want the channel to be all around the live your life thing. Sometimes it's not, because, you know, in order to try and grow the channel, you've got to do the bike reviews in particular, and my trips and all that sort of stuff. But I love talking to people that have got a story, you know, and I obviously the live your life thing is what I'm all about now, and I love the podcast that doesn't just need to be about bikes. You can have everyone and anyone on here. If you've got a story, I want to hear it, I want to chat about it, and it's
cool, man.
It's nice to have. When else do you spend 2-3 hours chatting with people about everything and anything?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I've really enjoyed myself. It's been great.
Cool,
it's
man.
nice to talk about, like, you know, Guildford Custom and talk about the guys that behind the scenes. So, I mean, obviously, you know, it's my baby. The whole inception of Guildford Custom was my thing, but to actually come on to something like Brew Time and talk about the guys that help me make it happen is really, really nice for me. To talk about the fun stuff and my love of motorcycles and your love of motorcycles and the whole, you know, live your life ethos. It's been really fun. So I've really enjoyed it.
Brilliant. Well, it's been my pleasure, mate, as it always is. Before we draw it to a close, are there any shout outs you want to give? Feel free to plug your own things or anyone else's.
No particular shout outs, I suppose. If you have some time and you're watching YouTube, look up Noble Custom or Noble Custom Motion. Check out my videos. Just motorcycle videos for the chopper connoisseur. If you happen to be in Guildford, Surrey, that's it. If you happen to be in Guildford, Surrey, please do stop into Guildford Harley Davidson. It'd be lovely to meet you. I would love to show you around the shop, show you what we do, what we've got. If you've never ridden a Harley before, please come and see me. Come and ride some motorcycles. Just, even if you're no interest in ever buying one, just so that you might get it. Do you know what I mean? Just come and try it out. Just, you could be just like Bruce and just ride a bike and think, actually, I never really understood until I actually jumped on and went down the road. But yeah, it'd be cool. Just come and meet me. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to hear about what you're doing and what you're riding, and yeah.
Absolutely. Exactly what Mike says, folks. Just, if there's any inclination at all in you, pop down there and just try one. Just see what you think of it. You never know. You never know. Dude, I will leave all the links that Mike's just spoken about down in the show notes. So if you're listening to the podcast, check out the show notes. If you're watching the video, click the description down below and make sure you check out those links. Mike, always a pleasure, mate. Always an utter pleasure. Thank you so much for coming
Thanks,
on.
Cool.
I wish you, Stephanie, and the new addition. What's your kiddie called?
Daisy.
I wish you all the best, and hopefully see you soon down the shop.
Yeah, man, definitely. We'll get you in for that live wire.
Oh, yes, brother. Definitely. Absolutely.
Cool, man.
All right, dude, you look after yourself, all right?
Awesome. Thank you, mate.
No,
Cheers.
Pleasure. Folks, hope you've enjoyed this one. No idea who's on next week because it's going to be about in 2 weeks' time. So I will post up on the social platforms as usual to tell you who the next one is, and feel free to leave your questions. All right, folks, keep on doing your thing. Get on out there. Look after those that you love. But most importantly, live your life. Woo-ha!